RCWR Show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey everybody, what's going on? You're checking out episode number 1049 of the RCWR Show for this Wednesday of September 6, 2023. Hope you guys have been enjoying your week so far. For those of you that might be just getting back in town because of the Labor Day extended holiday break and all that, hope you guys have made it back home or wherever your final destination is. Hope you made it back in one awesome piece. And man, shout out to those of you that are here in North America dealing with one hell of a heat wave that we have been having so far this week. Monday, really bad, especially as far as the humidity goes. Tuesday, exceptionally bad. Wednesday, just Thursday and Friday, depending on where you are, we just got to make it through Thursday and Friday, and then we start to feel as though maybe we're kind of going into that fall-like weather. As the temperatures, it's not going to get down to the point, obviously, where you need to start wearing some type of a sweater or coat or whatever like that, but it's going to be a lot better than what we've been experiencing so far this week, especially if you are living on the East Coast and everything. Nice, well-rounded show we've got for you guys. We'll definitely talk about tonight's AEW Dynamite. We'll also talk about, now that everything is said and done with CM Punk, and he has been removed by Tony Khan. He's been removed from AEW. How does the future look for AEW as a whole? We'll definitely talk a lot about that. I'll also share some of you all's feedback / comments based off of an editorial piece that I had wrote up on the whole situation concerning CM Punk, which, I gotta be honest, majority of the fans that have taken the time out to read that editorial piece have been very complimentary. If they've had any disagreements with some of the things that I've said, they have been most respectful and very constructive in their criticism and their feedback. So I definitely want to, later on in the show, give that nod and everything. So look, tonight's AEW Dynamite, this definitely, I gotta say, there were a few areas on this episode where I nodded my head and I said, okay, you know what? This program looks like it's promising. And then I'm looking later on in the show and I'm going, okay, you know what? This feud definitely looks very promising. And not because of CM Punk, but I was just curious, okay, what are we going to do here, AEW? Because AEW got hit with a really bad 1-2 punch coming from that whole ordeal with CM Punk. Have you guys even heard what had went down with AEW Collision from this past Saturday as far as the ratings and the viewership goes? Now, of course, and I'm not saying it's excuses, but man, the fact that so many people had tuned out after the announcement was made about CM Punk, you're hearing that, and then you think about the competition that Collision was dealing with that Saturday and everything. and you're going, yeah, you know what, wasn't really a good Saturday for them when it's all said and done. But in case you are not aware, this past Saturday night's episode of AEW Collision had averaged 345,000 viewers on TNT. This is down over 37% from the previous week. And so far, if you're keeping tabs, because I know there's some of you TV trivia buffs that's out there that pay attention to the ratings and all of that, so far, Collision, it's the lowest audience total the show has drawn, since it came to fruition and everything. Now, it did draw a 0.11 rating in the 18 to 49 demo. That is also down as well. It's down by over 31% from the prior week. That's also the lowest rating in the history of the show. It matches the 18 to 49 rating that Rampage did just the night before. So there was another fun stat that I had saw that was floating around online and everything, which is, and shout out to the guys over there at Russell Ops, they said that the opening quarter of the past Saturday's episode for AEW Collision, it drew 472,000 viewers. So just really stop and think about that for a second. You're going into Collision, and at this point, you have the heads up now that at least an hour before the show, you were on your favorite social media site, so you got the news, you knew what was going on with CM Punk, whereas others, they knew about it from 2, 3, 4 hours ago. So now you're going, wow, is this even going to be addressed on the show? What exactly is going on here? Gots to know what's happening here. And since Collision is live, you're hoping that you'll get that best real-time update and everything like that, right? So think about that. 472,000 viewers for that opening quarter for Saturday's Collision. Now, after Tony Khan announced that he fired CM Punk, you had almost 90,000 viewers tune out. Almost 90,000 viewers changed the channel. That's a loss of 19%, almost 20% of your audience for that opening quarter. So I'm looking at that, the whole CM Punk news fiasco, which, again, we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show, because I do want to revisit just some key points, and I get to the editorial piece that I had wrote up, you all's feedback on that and everything. But, I'm looking at all of that, and I'm going into this Wednesday's Dynamite going, man, I really hope that Tony Khan and crew, as far as the entertainment goes, I really hope that we're cranking it up a notch and everything, because I'm sure that at this point, now that all is said and done, okay, this guy that was supposedly a cancer and just all of these bad things that was going on, he was hindering, whatever you want to call it. Okay, he's gone. Let's see what's going on with you guys now and everything. So we kicked off with Orange Cassidy, and I could literally feel some moans and groans from some people, because it's become a running gag as far as, oh man, not Orange Cassidy again. It's kind of one of those mashed potatoes and meatloaf again. Can I have some pizza? Or, man, can I at least get a burger? Or how about some soup? How about some soup this go around? I'm tired of mashed potatoes and meatloaf, right? Every night it's the same thing. Mashed potatoes and meatloaf, same time, right? Same plate, same silverware, right? It's like, after a while and everything. So nothing, you know what, even though I would imagine a lot of fans were kind of moaning and groaning in regards to Orange Cassidy, I would like to believe that for those that stuck around, the fact that he was only out there cutting a very brief promo, and I do mean brief, he was out there for maybe 3 minutes at most, and that pretty much was it. You know what? I was fine with it when it was all said and done. But yeah, Orange Cassidy came out, and he just pretty much took the time out to say, look, contrary to what management and the medical staff had informed me, I'm going against their better judgment. I'm going against my own better judgment. They're telling me that I honestly have no business being here and that I should be kicking back at home, recuperating and everything. But no, that's not how I'm going to be rolling. That's not me whatsoever. My promise to you guys is that I'm going to continue to be here each and every single week, whether I have a title or not. I'm going to be out here doing what I do best because I'm freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, and yeah, I have no catchphrase. That pretty much was the end of it. So you're like, oh, okay, cool. All right, Cassidy, well, more power to you, brother. So see him making his exit. He can't even get off of the ramp when we soon hear the music of the new AEW Intercontinental Champion there in Jon Moxley. Cassidy having a very far apart now, very, very far apart, but they did have a brief exchange eye contact wise, and it was almost, you can make an argument, a mutual respect type of deal or whatever, as Moxley had to go right into his first match defending that new AEW Intercontinental Championship. Defended it against AR Fox out here. So Darby Allin was with AR Fox, but then he decided he wanted to hang out in the back, chat it up with Cassidy. So they made their exit as AR Fox head down to the ring for this matchup and everything. Look, I think without a shadow of a doubt, nobody ever doubted that Moxley, the championship, was in jeopardy. I mean, come on, it's AR Fox and everything, right? It's AR Fox. And hey, this was another match where Moxley did not bleed. Not sure how many of you guys are keeping tabs there. Moxley doing a better job of bleeding when it counts the most and everything. It's kind of interesting here. So, if there's one thing about this match that kind of it was an okay opener. I know that some people felt that AR Fox was getting too much in there on Moxley. A lot of people were looking at this match really feeling as though this should have been a squash match for all intents and purposes. Nah, I wasn't really in that majority. I felt that it had just the right amount of offense that was coming from AR Fox for all intents and purposes. I like the fact that AR Fox didn't look like a bum when it was all said and done. As long of a decorated, respected wrestling career he's been able to build up for himself and everything over the years. No, I felt that, I mean, look, he ain't no main event impact player, maybe not just yet, or what's the case, right? But you know, you definitely didn't want to have him go out there and look like some CAW green or CAW red. You didn't want him going out there looking like that for what it was worth. Now, we still got that little added drama that's going on where Nick Wayne is still beside himself that Darby Allin so fast was able to forgive AR, and right, I mean, after all, this guy beat the living out of him on his own home turf, right? He was home in his own little backyard ring, right? And he got massacredly, like, beat up. If there was ever a time to press charges on somebody, right, that would have been it in that moment right then and there. But for whatever respected reason, it did not happen. So we see Nick Wayne is looking on a bit perturbed even after the match. AR Fox loses, but you had Darby out there giving AR a round of ovation, saluting him and everything, and Nick Wayne looking very hurt by this, very confused by this and everything. This sets up a great backstage segment between Christian Cage and Luchasaurus that walk up to him and, you know, tells Nick straight up, hey, look, I actually saw some footage of your dad wrestling and everything, and you know what, I owe you an apology for what it's worth and everything. yeah, your dad is worse as I thought, as far as a wrestler goes. So he then tells him, it's obvious you need a mentor. You don't need to look any further. Don't look any further. Dejo, Mateo, Mumbo J-Ho. Don't look any further, right? Dennis Edwards, look that song up. Don't look any further. But yeah, Christian, he's your man. Give him a holler. What's up? Yeah, give him a holler. Also tells Nick to tell his mom he said hi, so he's still trying to holler at her and all that. So, this is a very weird dynamic, I gotta tell you, with the whole Darby, the AR, right? Nick just beaten in a very extreme bloody pulp, pretty much left to die and all of that, and Darby's just, hey man, we've been through a lot, man. When I was homeless, man, when this happened, when that happened, right? Justifying it and everything. And, it's obvious here that Nick does not like the way that this is. Keep all this in mind, because I'm going on and on and on about this. We had, in the main event match, Darby Allin taking on Nick Wayne. And this wasn't just any old type of match. No. This was a, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this was, let me actually look at the bracket too, and I'll update you guys on the most latest bracket in a little bit. But if I'm not mistaken, this was the Grand Slam World Title Eliminator Tournament. So this wasn't just any old kind of match, right? So, I really did not like the way all of this was set up to eventually have Nick Wayne and Darby Allin square off one-on-one in the main event, because whether you guys, look, y'all, once in a blue moon, I know you don't agree with some of the things that I say, especially when it comes to AEW and all that, and I mean very well. I do my best to give constructive criticism and feedback where it's warranted, and don't just leave it at constructive criticism, right? I give ways that, okay, this should be improved, and you can do it by blah, 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 blah. In this particular case, I really wish that the build-up to this world title tournament, I really wish it would have been better built, particularly between Nick Wayne and Darby Allin. To my point, once Nick Wayne saw that Darby Allin was like, hey man, you just got to give it time. I know you don't quite understand right now because you're still relatively a young man and everything, yada 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 yada. You should have honestly pulled a page out of the comic books. You should have pulled a page out of Batman. Anybody that has ever read a comic book of Batman for an extended period of time, or at least done your research, you know that at one point Dick Grayson, Robin, he says to Batman, man, you've been holding on to that freaking costume, cape and cowl. You've been holding on to that bad boy for such a long time. You hear me? You've been holding on to that for such a long time. You can go and enjoy yourself in retirement. Let me take over the mantle. Let me be the new Batman. And Bruce Wayne was not having it. He was not having it. He was not willing to let it go. And Dick Grayson is like, but dude, this is what you trained me for. All these years, everything that we've done together, you've prepared me for this moment. And now I'm telling you, because I'm not that young little kid that you came across so many years ago. I am now a young man, and I'm telling you, I am ready. I can take on the responsibility. But Batman's like, yeah, no. And we saw that was one of those type of ordeals where Dick was very hurt by that. Very hurt. So hurt. He was like, okay, you know what? Bump you then. I'm gonna go be my own man in my own city. I'll be my own damn Batman. I don't need your mantle. I can do what you do, if not even better. You just watching for the longest time. Remember, they did not talk and all of that stuff and everything. I wish they could have taken a page out of that and applied it to the young Nick Wayne with Darby Allin. I don't understand. Why are you forgiving AR Fox? This makes no sense to me. What the hell is wrong with you, dude? After everything that he did to me, fighting for my life and everything, and you just gonna forgive him like that? And even when Darby explains what he explains, man, I ain't trying to hear that. That's a cop-out, dude. How you gonna try to play me like that? That's a cop-out. Come on, man, really? I don't even want to hear any more of your noise right now, because that you're spewing now is noise. I don't want to have anything to do with you. And then how cool would have that been to find out later on, as far as the tournament bracket, Nick Wayne, Darby, they're going to have to face each other in the first round. Then you have Darby try to approach Nick Wayne, and once again, Nick is like, I don't have anything to say to you right now. Best thing I can tell you to do, or best thing I can say to you right now, see you in that tournament. Right, and that should have been it. Keep the guys freaking separate. It's been so discombobulated, like that word. What's been going on, especially as far as the utilization of Nick Wayne, it's just one of those, man. I'm not saying Nick Wayne needs to be, in a position where, we got to do him like Commander. We've got to do him like, insert the name. I'm not saying you got to do it like, but just have some type of proper structure flow where you kind of feel as though, okay, yes, this kid is promising. I want to continue to watch this young man as his AEW career develops. It just still feels like Khan and crew aren't really sure what to do with him. The tag team division, that's where they really need to focus the most with young Nick Wayne right now, I personally feel. He was involved in a couple of tag matches already. I know he was involved in one match with Commander. He was involved in another tag match with El Hijo del Vikingo. Both of those tag matches were extremely good. I would love, to the point, see him do a lot more tagging with those guys and everything. But yeah, it was just, I did not like the way all of that was executed for what it was worth. Right down to the point, once you finally got to that main event match between Nick Wayne and Darby Allin, it just felt so flat. And you're going, and it was flat for the very reasons I just described. There wasn't enough substance. There wasn't enough. They didn't do a really good job in fleshing all of that out and everything, really tapping in on the miscommunication, conflict of interest. They didn't really do a good job. And it was so dull, the match. I was actually ecstatic once I heard the music of Christian Cage and he's coming out there and everything, because then you're going, okay, this is obviously adding a whole new layer, a good fun layer and everything. Darby Allin picking up the win in this one, closing moments of this one. Darby was set up in the corner. I believe it was Nick Wayne that had tried to climb up to the top and everything, dives with a cutter or something like that. Darby shoves him off the top rope, does a coffin drop, goes for the pin. It's a near fall as Nick had managed to escape. Then there was another cover attempt, no moss right there. Darby with a crossbody off the ropes, yet another near fall, another roll up, nope. Then you had a destroyer, a lot of near falls that was in there. Finally pulls back on the arms, kicks Nick's head in a few times, goes in for the submission hold. That is how Nick Wayne had tapped out when it was all said and done. So, and I like that you had Christian Cage on commentary. He was just egging on and poking fun at Darby Allin, basically. Oh, look at you, how big of a man you are. Look at you, you beat up a kid to advance in the tournament. Goody for you, kind of one of those type of deals. So I like what is continuing to develop here with young Nick Wayne. The answer is not Nick Wayne going heel. That's not really the answer. But if you want to have there be a situation where a young Nick Wayne, mentally wise, is taken advantage of while he can still sell being a bit conflicted, selling how he felt hurt by the actions of Darby and all that, then yeah, as long as you're continuing to tell that story and all that, yeah, then I definitely think it can for sure go a few routes. You can definitely go a few places with that for what it's worth, but it's definitely helping having Christian Cage thrown into the mix. I definitely got to admit that, because without him, man, this would just be dead on so many levels as far as I'm concerned. TBS Championship match. Chris Statlander successfully retaining against Emi Sakura. I actually had enjoyed this one. This was damn good. Emi came out of this joint out of the gate, coming off like she had a serious chip on her shoulders. This was as physical of a bout I've seen Emi Sakura in within recent memory. You know, I went into this, it wasn't a case where I went into it with some type of expectation. I just went into this going, oh, okay, you know, well, this should be a fairly decent women's match for, you know, what it's worth and everything. But no, this was hard hitting, and I like the fact that as far as continuing to solidify and extend Chris Statlander's title reign, giving it some type of legitimacy and all that, I really like that this was a hard-fought match, a hard-fought victory for Statlander and everything. I enjoyed that big time. Great effort between both girls, but Statlander continuing to string it on. I gotta tell you something. I enjoyed this match a lot more than what Statlander did against Ruby Soho. That may actually surprise some of you guys, but something, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a decent match, especially from Statlander's standpoint. You know, if you're looking at her and everything, how she was operating in that match against Soho, you're going, hey, right, for Soho, but Statlander, you're going, but this one, just the right amount of chemistry, just the right amount of back and forth between these girls. I definitely had enjoyed it there. Les Sex Gods, Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho taking on Aussie Open. Final moments of this matchup, you know, we saw Jericho and Sammy have a little bit of a miscommunication and everything. It got a little bit physical in there between the two, but Jericho was able to hit Fletcher with the Judas effect and everything. Aussie Open, you know, they're continuing to put in the hard work. Every time I see Aussie Open on my TV now, I know I'm going to be entertained. I don't even need to worry. I know it's going to be an overall a good match. I know worst case scenario from a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being crap, 5 being awesome sauce. I know that bare minimum on average, Aussie Open is going to give me somewhere between a 2.5 to a 3.5 point match, and that's good. I'm fine with that. And Aussie Open did not disappoint in this one. I felt that between Aussie Open and Sammy, they were the main 3 that carried most of the load here for this tag match, because yeah, look, we all know Jericho, he can lose all the weight that he wants. He can have 6-pack, 8-pack, 12-pack abs. He can do all of that, okay? He can do all of that. He can use Topic. He can use some Just for Men. He can do all of that, but Father Time is undefeated, right? And physically, with what we're seeing with Jericho, you know, he's getting slower and slower. I tell you what, and that's not a knock to the man. That's not a knock to the man, so don't take it that way. But you gotta basically best utilize Jericho and try to mask his, you know, hey, he's not really good at this anymore, so we kind of got to work around that. You know, if we can, let's avoid that altogether, right? So you got to work around those handicaps when it's all said and done. I mean, it feels like now when he is doing the trademark coming off of the top rope to crash into somebody, it feels like it's an eternity now just to see him launch himself, get himself in that position where he's able to launch himself over that rope to crash into somebody. And it's like, Jericho's coming at you, right? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi. 10 Mississippi, it's like the dude is still in the air. You can move. You know that, right? You can easily move. It's kind of getting down to one of those type of deals and everything. Post-match, Jericho celebrating, tries to hold up Sammy G's hand. Sammy is not feeling it. He actually pulls his hand back and everything. They start a shoving match. Next thing you know, security comes out and everything, try to clear the air. Sammy rolls out of the ring. Jericho looking on, very frustrated. Once again, Jericho, I gotta give him a thumbs up for just the facial expressions that he was selling there, because on the one hand, Jericho is going, this kid, right, but then the other vibe that you're picking up is, damn, I can't believe I fell for that again. I can't believe I let my emotions get the best of me. Now look what's going on between me and Sammy. I gotta try to make this right. And so I really would not be surprised if yet again we see Jericho try to offer some type of a peace offering to Sammy G and everything. There's a reason why Don Callis is continuing to essentially meddle in the business there of Chris Jericho and everything, right? There's a reason why, right? So I would not be surprised if he tried talking to Sammy G yet again, not necessarily to recruit Sammy, just to continue to egg on to Jericho. And now some of you guys may say, okay, so we got Don Callis continuing to stick his nose in there, Lee, but what's the end game here for Callis? Well, what is he going to prove here? What's this really all about when it's all said and done for Don Callis? Because after all, Lee, Jericho was willing to join Callis. You could make an argument that Callis is trying to teach Jericho a very hard lesson. And remember the circumstances for Jericho trying to join Don Callis and his stable and all of that. Remember what it was initially. And the way Callis came back at Jericho, he said to him, let's be honest, as far as your factions and all that go, it's always been about how you can benefit everybody catering to you. You don't work so well with joining other people, right? Now you can make an argument like well, Jericho did come over from WCW to WWE. He somehow was able to make that work. So but let's not even think about that, right? Let's not even think about that. So you can make an argument right now that Callis did not want to take on Jericho in the little Callis stable and all that because he felt Jericho was trying to do it at the time to benefit him. If this is Callis' way of ultimately trying to humble Jericho, then he's definitely kind of going about it the right way here. I mean, at least that's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to make sense out of it. I know I'm really stretching here, right? If you guys want to offer a better idea on what's the end game to this, you can definitely sound off. But unless you're going in possibly that direction of humbling and humiliating Chris Jericho to the point where he's like, hey, Don, okay, man, you win, man. I really get this and everything. What do you want? Where do we go from here? Right? And if it's not Jericho with Callis, then I tell you one thing is certain though, every time Don Callis is coming out there, crickets. Which one is my cricket sound effect? Just crickets, man, just crickets. Oh, Lord have mercy. What else do we have here? MJF, Samoa Joe, their segment, pretty damn good. That was actually one of my favorite highlights of the night. But gotta put a few asterisks by that. There were some things about this segment that I did not like. Now, I was expecting for MJF to call out Samoa Joe and everything, and basically they pick up on what all had went down from what was it, Sunday, from the Sunday pay-per-view All Out, right? So they're following up on that. That's actually no, was it no, yeah, I'm remembering it right. So yeah, because they had defended successfully their tag titles and all that, and then Samoa Joe did the bump. Everything else was pretty much history and everything. So Joe comes on out there. Okay, kid, what's your problem? What's your problem, kid? And MJF, not really appreciating the embarrassment that he had experienced at the pay-per-view and everything. And I like the line where MJF says to him, this must be pretty embarrassing for you. You may have confused MJF's music for an ice cream truck, and that kind of got I popped on that one, I gotta admit. I actually popped on that one, and Samoa Joe, you can tell that kind of got him a little bit because he's kind of smirking and everything, tells MJF that's actually a pretty good one, but that the last time he had anything to do with an ice cream truck, he was busy being the biggest star on the other company's network. So there's your first WWE reference right there. It was the first of many within the span of several minutes, as then we hear WWE, like outright, we hear the letters WWE, then we hear NXT, then we hear William Regal, we hear a nod to Triple H, right, one of his little, and it's just like, then we hear about a moment in WWE again where MJF was hired as an extra or whatever, and Samoa Joe, he was one of the security details for Samoa Joe entrance, and Samoa Joe, what does he do? He shoves the hell out of young 19-year-old MJF. I mean, there were like so many WWE references in this bad boy. I was not a fan of that whatsoever. It's like I'm hearing Tony Khan and everybody else, they're doing the whole rah AEW, and all of that. You just came off of one of your biggest wrestling events for the company in the history of your company, and setting the tone for other wrestling promotions to, okay, come in and try to top that, right? But even if they are able to top that, right, everybody will always remember, AEW will always remember, hey, that's cool what they were able to do, but we were the first. We essentially were the ones that, had pretty much set the table, if you will, right? So, I just felt there was no need to go in that direction. There was just no need for that whatsoever. All of those WWE references, you can say to me, hey, if it's, so as long as it's MJF that's doing it, because after all, it's supposed to be the bidding war of 2024, and MJF, where's he gonna go and all of that. As long as it's MJF, that's one thing. But even for my standards, much like with some of MJF's segments, less is better. His segments as of late, it's gone way too long, and I get it. Yeah, the guy knows how to talk and everything. That's great. But just because the man knows how to talk, it doesn't mean you need to have him be out there trying to kill 15, 20, 25 minutes. Sometimes less is better. Having it be more compact, more precise in the execution, just ba-boom, 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 get those bullet points, boom, roll the hell out. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but it was still a really good segment between the two men for what it was worth and everything. And MJF, look, I'm a full-grown man now. I'm the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. I'm the best wrestler on God's green earth. I am MJF, throwing it right back at Samoa Joe. And he tells Joe to stay out of his way if he knows what's good for him, or he's gonna kill him, right? He's gonna kill him. So, because he's Maxwell Jacob Freeman, and he's better than Joe, and he knows it, Joe comes right back, kind of feeling, okay, you're trying to provoke me, but that's not really gonna work and everything. You can forget about that. Which reminds me, we saw Samoa Joe. He tried his best. I remember he even called MJF a little B. Right? Yeah, he even called him that, trying to get a rise out of MJF. It did not work. I do remember MJF called himself Slapping Joe, and I laughed at TV at that point. I just burst out in laughter because it was one of the most weakest slaps I've ever seen in my life. Samoa Joe saying to MJF, hey, look, it's all good, man. I'm going to do this the right way. You know, you ain't really a fan of me jumping ahead of the pack. You talking about a line and all that. Okay, I'm going to enter that little tournament. I'm going to win it out. And then I'm going to see you for that championship. So you can go ahead, you can leave the ring. I'm done with you. So MJF getting ready to make his exit, got in between the ropes. Samoa Joe kicks the rope so that it hits MJF's groin area, his crown jewels. Samoa Joe then going right to work. You had officials, Adam Cole come out there, try to break it all up, try to keep the peace and everything, but Samoa Joe has already done the damage. Good stuff right there. Just fantastic stuff. I loved it. Roderick Strong having his qualifying match next. I mean, he literally comes out and he's looking at Adam Cole and he's going, what about me? What about me? What about my neck? You know, what's going on with me? You know, how about me? Where's the love for me? I am really liking Roderick Strong. And the graphics that they had up for him when they were hyping up his pending match and all that against Trent Beretta, some of the most hilarious stuff, because you just see this guy in a t-shirt and he's got a neck brace on. That's what's in the lower third of the screen, lower bottom of the screen. Like, you couldn't help but chuckle at that. Roderick Strong picking up the win in this one. No, I thought Trent Beretta had no chance whatsoever. I like how they're doing Roderick Strong though after these matches are over. So before the match begins, because you're thinking, okay, he's going to wrestle in a neck brace? Like, what's going on? So before he gets ready to wrestle, they take the neck brace off. Then after it's over, you know, his guys, the Kingdom, they come back and they put him back in the neck brace. They actually put it on for him. And I'm looking at that and I'm popping so huge, because if I ever had an opportunity to interview any one of those guys, one of the first things I would ask them is, are you guys a fan to some degree of James Brown? Because you're literally taking a page out of his playbook. Because for those of you younger folks, or those of you inexperienced with the Godfather of Soul, James Brown, you know, something that James Brown would do day in and day out when he would perform live on the stage, you know, he would have this big old cape, this big old flamboyant. You know how Ric Flair would have his robes? Well, James Brown would have these extravagant, you know, capes, right? And, you know, they were awesome. They were like some of the most coolest freaking capes you would see and all that. And his right-hand man will always be there to get that cape off of him and everything. And whenever James Brown was done performing, you know, he would drop the one knee, right? It was kind of like, king me, baby, ow, you know, kind of one of those type of deals. You see the same guy, he'd come back and he'd drench the cape over James Brown. So, like, if that's what we're going to continue to do here with Roderick Strong before and after every single match, I am so down for it. I think it's just some of the most hilarious stuff. It took him a minute. But I tell you what, I'm loving what's going on. What's up, Mish? I'm sure his recent public actions might be seen as an issue. Oh, who are we talking about? Punk? Who are we talking about, Mish? Catch me up to speed, dog. I'm sorry. DX. I'm trying to catch up on the chats, but like I got some weird delay going on over here, so I'm sorry, guys. DX, I don't watch AEW no more. I rely on people like you to keep me in the loop. Well, DX, I appreciate that, man. MJF, okay, thank you. I'm sure his recent public actions might be seen as an issue. Yeah, the WWE stuff. I was not a fan of the references, dog. I could have done without. Honestly, if they would have just kept it, here's how I would have trimmed it, y'all. I'd have trimmed everything out from that segment except for revisionist history. Hey, I was a 19-year-old, yada yada. When he mentioned William Regal, that was fine to mention. I had no problem with that. he could have said something along the lines of, I knocked William Regal's ass out and I sent his running back to Stamford, Connecticut. He could have left it just like that. But then he could have went, rewinded back. Hey, I was 19 years old. I didn't quite make the cut for that other company. They gave me a spot as an extra, and then go into it with the whole Samoa Joe. But like having 8, 9, 10 freaking WWE references in that promo, that for me personally, to each its own. Some of you might be like, I was fine with it. That was too much overkill for me. I mean, just close your eyes, right? Just think about your favorite fast food chain real quick, right? You don't see your favorite fast food chain every chance that they get. They're like verbally mentioning by name the other guys, right? When's the last time you turned on a Wendy's commercial and Wendy's is going, well, McDonald's doesn't have the type of hamburgers that we do because our joints is flame broiled. Yeah, ain't it? And talk about the French fries, yo. Well, when it comes to our French fries, unlike Burger King, right? And so you're doing all this, right? First of all, you gotta be feeling pretty damn comfortable and just really out your damn mind to do all those damn name drops, right? Like, just keep all them joints out your mouth. Just, we know, we get it, right? But it was still a good segment for what it was worth. It was still a good segment. Deathless Dogs. MJF seems on edge. I think the pressure is getting to him. That's the vibe that you were picking up? That wasn't the vibe I was picking up. The vibe I was honestly... Here's what I've been picking up so far. MJF is trying to do everything that he can to turn a new corner in his career. This whole new journey of him trying to embrace people that want to like him, right? They want to root him on and all that. This is all very new for him. This is like Howie Mandel has finally been freed from his phobia of germs because, he still has it to this day as far as I know. He doesn't like touching. He's got a weird touch thing. I remember there was one episode of, I think, America's Got Talent where they hypnotized him, and just for it was like 3 minutes, they had him like touching, and he didn't even know. It was like he was born without it one day, right? And then they snapped him out of it, and he had no recollection what was going on and all that, right? But no, MJF for me, he's kind of coming off like he's trying to do all of this, all in the name of Adam Cole. There's a part of him that cares a great deal about that relationship, and for Adam Cole, he's trying to go above and beyond, but it's costing him in the process, right? And that story really began to be told when you go back to the pay-per-view from over the weekend. We saw at the end of it, MJF is favoring that neck, and he's going, oh. And then now you fast forward, you go to tonight. It's been days removed from All Out. Samoa Joe did a serious number, and you've got MJF cursing like a sailor, talking about his neck and everything, right? So the fact that he's got the ROH tag titles and he's got that AEW World Heavyweight title, that means this dude is doing double duty. And sooner or later, something's gonna collapse. Sooner or later, it's gonna be one of those deals where, okay, either I slow it up and I don't know, maybe I need to strongly think about how many times I do these things with the title defenses, or, man, at this rate, I'm losing one or both of these titles. I just don't know which one is going to go down first. I like this journey that we're telling with MJF. Not to mention, and I said it a couple of weeks ago, and I've been asking for Tony Khan and crew to do this for some months now, really ever since they reintroduced ROH behind that paywall of theirs and everything, which is do some exclusive stuff where you can lure the audience, and you can, hey, you want to see MJF, you want to see this person, you know, they're over here at ROH. Yeah, they're behind the paywall, but you know, they're over here. And it's a smart move. I would hope that it's definitely boosting their subscriptions and all that, because if it's not, they need to have a serious talk with their marketing department for what it's worth. Let's see. 3 strikes of AEW. One saw Darby kick out of a F5 on Dynamite, then win with a roll-up. Okay. 2, Taya's fall from grace. Taya Valkyrie you're talking about. 3, Tony Khan's unprofessionalism that led to Punk's firing. Home man on that one, that DX Extreme reference. I'll come back to Tony Khan because I do want to talk more about that in just a hot second. Let's wrap up Dynamite. I don't think there's anything else much to talk about from Dynamite except for like 2 or maybe 3 more things. Segment of the night for me, I got to give it up to Toni Storm. She was chatting it up with Renee Paquette. I loved it. She talked to her about costing her friend in the Outcast, Ruby Soho, the TBS championship, and she pulled a Velveteen Dream. The Toni Storm has no recollection of that, right? I mean, that's literally what was going on with our girl, Toni Storm. Next week, we hear that there is going to be a 4-way eliminator match with the winner facing Saraya. Toni Storm says this makes a lot of sense, and Renee Paquette, she's trying to inquire a little bit more, to which Toni Storm, you're being a little bit too nosy, but stick around, you know, next week I'll hook you up with a nice little peek into my life. You know, you'll love it. And as she's saying that, I've got Sheila E's The Glamorous Life playing in my head and everything. I don't know why, but that's just what's going on. But she ends the talking segment by telling Renee, chin up, tits out, and watch out for the shoe. And Renee is just looking on bewildered, like that was one of the most oddest exchanges. And then you just see from out of nowhere this shoe coming, and luckily Renee missed it. Most hilarious stuff. I popped big time for that. I gotta say, Toni Storm, you know, as far as comedic timing and flushing out better characters, you know, characters that have been so bland in my eyes for a couple of years now, I gotta say, with what Khan and crew have been able to do with Roderick Strong and Toni Storm, it's some of the most, you know, as far as high points go. I know there's been a lot of low points with the biggest one over the weekend, but you know, if you really take a step back and you look at what's been happening with those two particularly, those are signs that, okay, here's something that is being done right, and you want to continue to see that good trajectory and everything. Swerve Strickland took a massive in the mouth of Hangman Adam Page. Boy, to hear Hangman Adam Page talk about how he's from Virginia, and because he is from over here, you know, DC metropolitan area, DC, Maryland, Virginia, we consider it all just, you know, one big old, we call it the DMV. And I'm just hearing him mention Virginia, and I'm going, dressed in that cowboy getup? Man, I know some real Virginians that are cowboys, and I'm just picturing them looking at that getup going, nah, he ain't from here. That boy ain't from here. You know, I'm just picturing that right now and everything, right? But Swerve Strickland comes out there. I was kind of wondering what was the whole purpose. By the way, we were talking about comedic timing and all that. Prince Nana. I love Prince Nana. Every time Swerve Strickland's music plays, we got Prince Nana coming out there always dancing and everything. That's one of my favorite parts, because I'm looking at Prince Nana and I'm going, okay, I can do that dance. Okay, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, what else we gonna do? Okay, so you're gonna hold the little belt buckle and you go, okay, I can do that too. Okay, I can do that. Okay, so you're gonna do this little dabby dab thing. I'm like, I love watching Prince Nana, man. His facial expressions, everything when Swerve's music plays. It's just some of the most hilarious stuff. Sometimes Nana looks like he gets a little bit too deep into it. You know what I'm saying? Just peep him out. It's kind of like Paul Heyman when he has the championships and he's just behind Roman Reigns. I always tell people, And if you've never done this before, start doing it. But I've always told people the 3 years that Roman's had the titles, watch Paul Heyman. Every time, just watch Paul Heyman. He's the one you want to be looking at because he makes some of the best facial expressions, right? It's like the young Sung, okay? And Nana is kind of in that same role and everything. But we had Swerve out there. This was kind of odd because you're looking at Swerve going, my man, what are you doing out here? Swerve's talking about how the coffin match and everything from the pay-per-view, basically it gave him some perspective and everything. He thought it was kind of funny that Heyman Adam Page is going to donate to this charity to help out kids in Chicago, juvenile delinquents who ain't going to amount to anything anyway. I'm just picturing Chicago pissed off right now hearing that one. It's true. It's true. You need martial law out there. So this then sets up Swerve to talk about how when AEW first came into existence, Hangman was one of the cornerstones. It kind of seemed like the company was being built around him and everything. He was essentially handpicked to be a franchise player, and for whatever respected reason, after becoming a tag champion, after becoming a world champion, it's just, what have you done for me lately, right? He's just pretty much settled on his laurels, especially after he had got his new fat contract. Speaking of fat, looks like Hangman's been picking up some weight, he sees. I mean, he really ripped this dude a new one here. And he basically said, in layman's terms, my man, if you ain't hungry no more, that's fine. If you're full, you no longer have that fire, that's okay. My dude, you can step to the side, let me come on in there, let me eat. Because if I'd have had it my way, I would have became the first black AEW World Heavyweight Champion by now. And that actually got a pretty good pop from the crowd. I got to tell you, I'm very concerned with this program between these guys. Don't get me wrong. I think they're going to have a fantastic match, but if Tony Khan and crew were expecting for Swerve to get booed tonight, boy, did that backfire, because it really seemed like, don't get me wrong, crowd definitely was appreciative and, hey, Hangman, hey, right? Swerve, bigger reaction, bigger positive reaction. Everything that he was spewing out there. And that's the thing, you go back and you watch that promo, you might have heard, you really didn't hear boos. If anything, it was, ooh, and it was kind of like, what are you going to do, Hangman? One of those type of deals. So, Hangman wasn't really trying to hear any more chatter. He decided to roll out of the ring, and Swerve took that as an opportunity to take a little verbal stab at him. Yeah, go ahead, walk back to your wife, your kid, walk away. Let them know how you walked away from your responsibilities and all that. Hangman, wondering what the hell Swerve's problem is, gets in there. Next thing you know, just out of nowhere. Literally, I did not see where the big man came from, but Brian Cage just, boom, just right there. Knocks Hangman head off silly. Gave him a nice little beat down and everything. Powerbomb, drill clawed him. That pretty much was the end of that right there. So, interesting turn of events that's going on here for Hangman. This kind of feels as though or maybe in the mix of a reintroduction of the Hangman. I want to like Hangman. It's interesting because I remember year one going into year two of AEW. I saw the potential there in Hangman, and I like the story that they were essentially telling with the guy and everything, but somewhere in there along the way, now some people may say, no, maybe around the punk era you're thinking about. Maybe that's when way before Punk even arrived, there was something that was going on with Hangman where he just started going on a decline. To the promo that Swerve had mentioned tonight. Look, I don't know what was going on with Hangman. Maybe there was some personal stuff that was going on, and that kind of, I don't know. Not my business to know. Not unless he wants it to be known publicly. But, I'm just looking at this, and I want to like Hangman, but there is just something that is just, something's missing. I go back to that Rubik's Cube analogy, right? Something's missing. You put it all together, right? And it's just like Austin Theory. Great look, great in the ring. The mic work, bland as, right? But if he can just fix that, I think he could definitely be polarizing for the years to come. Hangman, from a fashion standpoint, his look needs to be updated. I don't know no cowboys that he looks like a rodeo show clown cowboy. I've hung around some real cowboys and I ain't never seen them. I've even hung around cowgirls and I ain't never seen them dressed like that. He looks like a rodeo show clown. So the costume, that's got to change. It's got to get a whole new look, first of all. Second of all, that personality needs to be flushed out just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. What was that match that he had last week? There was a black guy, and he was a cowboy. He was about close to the same height as Jonathan Gresham, but I felt that brother had more personality. I'm looking at his promo because he was getting ready to fight Hangman Page, as a matter of fact. I can't remember if it was on last week's... Let me think for a second. I can't recall if it was on last week's Rampage or if it was last weekend's... For sure it wasn't Collision. Not this past weekend. I'm thinking about the week before. Y'all know exactly who I'm talking about. I know you guys are going to remind me in the chat once this is available on demand and on the downloads. Point is, you know who I'm talking about, right? You hear that brother's promo, and I'm just going, wow, why can't Hangman have that type of ferociousness? Why can't he have that type of a commanding, when it comes to his promos? Everything is just, I don't know. Trick Brothers. Hang on. Let me catch up. Mitch said, you can stop at clown. The guy completely lost direction from 2+. Yeah. And this is before Punk came in. Something is, I don't know, man. Eye of the Tiger, I don't know what the hell is going on here, man. He walks out to the ring with his long blonde hair like he's a Southern Fabio. Oh, Daniel. Oh, y'all are savage tonight, man. Y'all are savage tonight, but I love it. I love it. Honestly, you know what? If I could just do him all over, the whole Hangman gimmick, like I said, the fashion, that's got to go. And as far as the persona goes, it's asking a lot, but as far as the persona, if I were to create a new Hangman Page, his persona as far as the cowboy goes, I would take a little bit of John Wayne. I would take a little bit of my dude from Deadwood. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. What is it? Ian McCain? Or Ian McMahon? You know what I'm talking about, the lead star for Deadwood. I would take a little of that personality. That black dude that I was just talking about that fought Hangman like 2 weeks ago. I would mix all of those bad boys into one. And you know what? I may borrow a little bit from North Fist from the Star / the Man with No Name trilogy. I may borrow some elements from those. And that's how I would make a better Hangman Page. Because I have the vignettes just going in my head how I would fucking do him going forward. But this current incarnation, like this guy that's just rodeo clown and he likes beer, whoopee-doo, right? And like, come on, man, you can miss me with that. You can miss me with all that. That's it. That was freaking Dynamite in a nutshell. We covered everything. Decent episode. Look, honestly, the 3 parts that I mentioned. The Tony Storm. What else? What else was good from tonight? The segment involving Swerve and Hangman, although if you're a Hangman fan, that kind of backfired a little bit. For sure, Samoa Joe, MJF, minus the WWE references. everything else from the episode, was pretty much skippable. I'm being honest with you, but if you got it on the DVR, check those 3 things out, and honestly, you'll be good to go, right? I want to follow up on some CM Punk news, so let's just keep going. I ain't gonna do no shameless plugging. Let's just keep going. So, because we got a nice vibe going on here, and I love you and appreciate you guys that's tuning in live and everything, especially those of you that'll be checking this out for on demand. So, I did the breaking news on Saturday with CM Punk. Go check that out if you haven't already. That doesn't even need a freaking show excerpt. That just one topic. That was it, right? So I've made my rounds listening to various podcasts from my friends, Brothers in Arms and Solar Monster and Mish, Joe, Soup, Cornette, listen to what Cornette had to say. I've listened to everybody right? Everybody, the Bischoffs, the Booker T's. I've listened to everybody. Right? Because my whole thing is, I want to get that perspective. And as I said a couple of days ago, when you're making your rounds on a particular topic like that, you always come away with a new perspective, right? Something that you didn't consider, right? I like that. If it's the right topic and you're trying to unravel it because it's so multi-layered, right? I love that. But as far as worst takes goes, I heard some bad ones. I won't mention no names. My friends know. That's all that, right? They're the only ones that need to know. I've heard some bad takes. None from my friends. I'll give you that hint. None from my friends. All my friends in the podcasting world. If I mention, because I don't want no beef. I don't want no trouble. But let's just say it this way. To tell a story about, let me phrase this just right. To tell a story about how you saw someone that was trying to change their attire and you egged them on, told them to go dress up in this here locker room, and that was your opportunity to really be a leader and steer them in the right direction, but you chose not to, and then 3 months later they were out of a job and you're laughing about it. That's some cold-blooded you-know-what, man. That is some cold-blooded you-know-what. So I did this editorial piece because I really wanted to bang it out and talk about the whole CM Punk thing. And all the comments, I'll post the link for you guys if you have missed it. I did this editorial piece, and shout out to my boy Jeremy, because Jeremy, it's all of my words. It's 100% my words. Nothing was taken out of context. Jeremy just went in, and if I was missing a comma somewhere, or hey, look, you gotta make sure you indent right here, something like that, right? That's basically all he did, but everything was my words. And the community has been pretty good for the most part. I would say out of 100%, I probably saw like about 1%. 1%, where you broke it down, half of that 1%, you had diehard AEW fans that looked at it as an opportunity to defend their promotion, and you don't know what you're talking about. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And then, you had others, that basically were like, why would you say toxic? Why would you? And I'm not saying AEW's toxic. I'm essentially telling you what other people have supposedly said and everything, right? But, it's been good and everything. One thing that I do want to stress, because I kind of feel in that article, it might have been a little bit lost in translation. Make no mistake about it. I commend Tony Khan for going out there in front of that crowd on that Saturday episode of Collision and telling that Chicago crowd, look, this is what happened. This is how it is. This is what went down. I may not appreciate his execution. I may not appreciate the fact that he had to get in front of a camera and he had to, right? I may not appreciate that. But I respect the move because he very easily could have let that ride on out until after the All Out pay-per-view. Then first thing Monday to kick off the whole new week. Oh yeah, so about that CM Punk, yeah, here's what went down. And I can just imagine the amount of people that maybe had participated at the StarCast weekend, participated at All Out, feeling ripped off and everything. And next thing you know, like, hey, right? So from a business standpoint, and those of us that know a thing or two about running our own respected business, right? Especially in the podcasting world, like, you see that move and you go, all right, okay, I'll give it to him, right? Because if that pay-per-view was going to be successful from that point going, right, like, you could make an argument, well, they already had enough X amount of seats that were, you could always come right back, though, and say, hey, they were under the impression Punk was going to, before they even heard about the firing, they were under the impression Punk was definitely going to be doing something, right? But I'll give him that. I'll definitely give him that, right? Because I don't really think that was stressed enough in the article. So I do want to give flowers where flowers needs to be given and everything, which is he went out there, he got in front of it, he got called those expletives. He got called those expletives. From here on out, though, he should not be doing stuff like that. I mean, that heavy of news, from here on out, he should not be doing stuff like that in front of the cameras. Honestly, get somebody that can represent your legal team. Let them do it. Have some, he needs like a Eric Bischoff. He needs his own John Laurinaitis. He needs his own, Paul White, Big Show. He needs somebody that can go there. I will be that bad guy. I will be the one to do it. It's okay. I will catch the bullets for you. That's why I'm here. That's why you pay me the big bucks. I'll be that dude. You need me to fire somebody in front of a camera? Okay, I'll do it, right? You need me to tell somebody, don't worry about coming to work today because you're fired? Okay, yeah, I'll be that guy. You need me to tell somebody, their services are no longer needed? Yeah, sure. Right, whatever you need, I will do the dirty work so you don't have to. He definitely needs that going forward. Much now, like more than ever. He needs that now. It's pretty obvious when you look at Tony Khan. It's pretty obvious that this man didn't have the type of upbringings that you and I have, and that's not a knock to him. I've come across people who, when I was growing up, straight up geeks. Straight up geeks. Didn't do no boxing, didn't play no type of sports, didn't play any type of video games, and somehow I was always able to find some type of common ground with them. Tony Khan strikes me as one of those people that, was probably a loner growing up and everything, and I know what that's like. I definitely know what that's like to a certain degree, but, usually what happens from past experience, when you get to a point where you're tired of being picked on, you want to be able to defend yourself, right? Eventually you look to other means. Maybe it's a parent that starts toughening you up. Maybe you start taking some martial arts classes, or you start going to a gym, right? There's usually that defining moment where you go, yeah, this is never going to happen to me again, so I'm going to do, X, Y, Z, and, next time I'll be able to knock a mofo out. And I guess when your father is Shad Khan, you don't need to worry about any of those things. Yes, Mish, he needs a Johnny Ace for sure, or a Michael Hayes. I guess when your dad's Shad Khan, everything's hand and foot. Everything is hand and foot. So, and I'm not saying that as a knock to him. I'm just saying when you have grown up a particular way, okay? And you can tell me, oh, but he's been a wrestling fan for 30-something years, and you could tell me all of that till you're blue in the face, okay? But I refuse to believe that CM Punk was back there acting like some rabid freaking Wolverine, and he's just, I want Sabretooth. I refuse to believe he was just kirking out, right? Like I said to Michelin, like I said to other people, I'm like, if this guy can act a certain way with Marvel Comics, and he's doing what he's doing with that, the little movies that he's done, Heels, which is in its second season right now, if he can do all these things, he can do WWE Backstage. If he can do all of those things, that shows to me that, okay, this guy knows how to act like a professional. This man has some form of decorum. Okay, he can do the commentating for MMA, for whatever that promotion or promotions he's been doing in the past. If he can do all of those things, right, obviously he's doing something right in those respected areas. Now, look, I'm not saying that he is just 100% innocent. Make no mistake about it, and if that article that I wrote did not make it crystal clear, let me reiterate it right here, right now. Everybody is at fault for how this all had went down. Love CM Punk. You can't see it, but there's a WWE title in the studio here. You all that are watching the webcast, you can see me pointing somewhere around it. CM Punk signed that for me years ago when I met him in Chicago. Up on the wall between Jim Ross, Steve Austin, I got a signed CM Punk 8x10, right? So, before you go, oh, CM Punk hater, or no. Trust me when I say there is enough blame to go around. If you're Tony Khan, this really should have been squashed a lot sooner. A lot sooner. How far back do we need to take it with Punk? Let's go Colt Cabana. Let's go Colt Cabana. As soon as my man started bringing up that name and then bringing the moms into it, man, look, I don't care if I ain't talked to my mom in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, which has been the case for me. It has been 20 years. You ain't gonna have my mom's name come up out your mouth and think you're gonna continue to stand there. I'm gonna catch some handcuffs that night. Okay? I commend the hell out of Colt Cabana for not coming out there and swinging that Punk. That takes serious professionalism and restraint. Because I know if that was one of you all, y'all be like, nah, I'm going to have to checkmate that right then and there, right? You don't bring, especially when, to our knowledge, we've never heard the mom say anything publicly derogatory about Punk. So, like, the one thing I remember about Punk, and shout out if you remember this, there was one episode of Colt Cabana's podcast where he was talking to his lawyer friend. Because like they knew this family lawyer that's like, for like many years, they've known him or whatever. And he basically was trying to help out in the Punk case and all that, and the lawsuit against him and all that. And I remember the moms had made a cameo. I don't know if it was in that same episode, but there was definitely an episode where the moms popped up, and she seemed so, I mean, to my point, have you seen his mom? Have you heard his mom speak? She's so likable. She is so, that when Punk did what he did, coming after Colt Cabana's mom like that, that right then and there, that should have been, no, we can't, no. The very, very first incident. Now, I know for some of you guys, that wasn't the first incident. Tell me the first incident, because my mind is a little bit spotty. But definitely, for sure, you checkmate that ass right then and there if you're Tony Khan. And some people don't like conflict. I get that. But you know what? Guess what? Sooner or later, we all got to get our hands dirty. Sooner or later, we got to deal with that conflict head on. Okay? Because if we don't deal with that conflict, that person that continues to go unchecked, they're going to continue to get a bigger and bigger head, thinking they can do XYZ. Not saying that's what went down with Punk, but you could make that argument. I mean, all the people that he was trying to brawl with, all things considered, right? It's a very, very delicate situation. It is. For the longest time, I didn't like conflict for many years. I did not like conflict. But then I got to that point where it was, wait a minute. As long as I know that all the facts are on my side and I can back up whatever I'm getting ready to say to this person or whatever, even if it's a case where I'm standing my ground, as long as I have all my facts lined up and I can get them with that, then I have no reason to be intimidated. I got no reason to be scared and, all that other stuff, right? Tony Khan being scared, if he truly has seen his fair share of wrestling locker rooms, I don't think he was scared one little bit. I think this is a situation where, honestly, okay, this guy did this. This is like the ultimate infraction, right? So much stuff has gone down. What's our options here? Because, honestly, this may get worse. So what can we do to, what's the recommendations? Is there anything legally that we can do to try and, maybe get out of this? And if so, what can we do? Now, I see Jim Cornette is unfortunately catching some heat because he insinuated that the lawyer for AEW, MAGA, I keep thinking Megan, but it's actually MAGA. Right, not Make America Great Again, not that now, but her first name is MAGA. Apparently, she is pretty deep as far as relationship with the Bucks and some other AEW talent and everything. And basically, the whole point that he was trying to make was, this is a serious conflict of interest because she acts a certain way towards. And I listened to the clip that was in question. Matter of fact, I always listen to Cornette's clips usually. Somehow people took what he was saying and they turned that into this MAGA woman is sleeping around with AEW talent. And I'm going, I never heard Jim say that. I didn't even hear him even try to imply that she was. I'll go back and listen, but I did not hear that whatsoever. Make a good show again. I like that. Make a good show again. I heard that, and it's like, and now Christopher Daniels. So Christopher Daniels has opened his mouth, but not in the way you would think he would open his mouth. Not in regards to the CM Punk thing. But in regards to what Cornette had to say about our buddy MAGA, he says, I've kept my mouth shut about a lot of things in the past year, but the unsubstantiated garbage I've read in the past day about AEW's chief legal officer is an embarrassment to anyone spouting it. And he pretty much ends it by saying absolute garbage. Right, Mish. Yeah, Cornette said that she was run through by the boys. That's, you know what? He did say that. But I never picked the vibe up that he was insinuating, like she was But if that's what he meant, then I can now understand why people were jumping on that. But I'll listen to that again, y'all. But my first take, it was, okay. All right, so she's pretty close with some of the, okay. But if he, in fact, and I trust Mish, because if he's saying, Mish usually takes notes when he's listening to certain things. So if he's saying that's what went down, then I can understand the heat that's coming at him now. Now, in Cornette's defense, he said, okay, Chris, tell us who the first person should be. Okay, Chris, tell us who the first person who should be maligned so we can get started on them. And Cornette has not responded back to that. And then you've got what's going on with Dave Meltzer, Brian Alvarez. You see their respected spins that they're trying to do on the whole situation. As a matter of fact, one show listener of ours, Chris Matthews, over on X, formerly known as Twitter, he had put a thought out there in regards to what all's been going on with the CM Punk situation and everything. I'll just read to you in part what he says, but it's important because Brian Alvarez actually quoted him, and it's interesting, just the, well, wait a minute, Alvarez, Meltzer, y'all said this just a couple of days ago, and now you're saying something completely different here. Which one is it? So Chris had said, forget CM Punk for a moment. Jack Perry went into business for himself and helped create a problem during the biggest event in AEW history, all of which stems from him refusing to listen to coaches and backstage. And basically, he went on to talk about the whole glass spot and everything, how the kid did it anyway, right? Now, remember what I had said in my article that I did over on 4-1 Mania. I said, hey, let's follow the trail here. Who supplied Jungle Boy with that car to do that spot and all that? If you follow the trail, then, you know, ultimately you get your answer as far as, right? And I kind of ended it in a way where I said, conspiracy theory, hey, I could be reaching here. I admit that, but you got to admit, something seems kind of fishy here. And a lot of you guys think that Punk was kind of baited, but at the same time, he's a grown-ass man. He should know how to handle his business, right? As he likes to say, I'm trying to run a business here, right? His brand is his business. Here's what Brian Alvarez had said. This one continues to amaze. Management did approve the spot he wanted to do. They told him to rent the car for Collision. He was not defying management. Now let's pause on that. Let's pause on that. So Alvarez, you're saying that he was approved the car, but he was approved that car for Collision. So is it safe to say that the car was not approved for the pay-per-view All In? That would have been my, like, if you're going to respond to me, I'm coming right back at you with that. Because, like, we need to know definitively, right? So you hear how Alvarez is trying to paint this so far. Let me continue on. He was not defying management. And the people denying that don't even stop to think that when he made the comment about Crimea River, he did so while doing a spot with glass that was approved by management. A spot that was approved by management. Now, when I hear that, see, it's a way with words. So stay with me here. This ain't long-winded. Stay with me. So if the spot was approved, okay, right? But was the spot approved with the glass, with real glass? This is where you right, if you're a real journalist or you're just that inquisitive, you don't even have to be a real journalist. You don't even have to really be studying journalism, broadcast media. You're just that inquisitive. You're like, okay, I really need you to, like, because you're talking in riddles here. So definitively, what's really going on, right? So I hear this. I hear it was approved for Collision, right? Go back again. Management did approve the spot he wanted to do. Okay. We know who Jack Perry is buddy chums with. It's the guys in the Elite, right? So I would imagine one of them, all of them, they approved it. Okay. He was not defying management. Of course not, because he's their boy. And the people denying that don't even stop to think that when he made the comment about Cry Me a River, he did so while doing a spot with Glass that was approved by management. I don't know. It's difficult to believe that management and the networks will willingly let someone hurt themselves dangerously. Dog, this is one of those conspiracy theories. We'll never really know. Because look, on the one hand, it's like what I said. Heaven forbid Jack Perry got a serious laceration. Then if it's to the point we're talking blood clots, we're talking, possible stroke and all that other crap, then it's like, oh man, that's such a messy situation. And then Tony Khan's got to go talk to Warner Media, Discovery, right? Try to clear all that. That definitely does not help them when it comes to a re-up on negotiations and all that other crap, right? That sounds so freaking, right? Something does not sound right there, for the respective reasons why you wouldn't approve that spot. DX says, my 2 cents on the Glass issue. If Jack Perry has an accident and meets his dad after the Glass spot, he gets no sympathy. The fact that they don't listen to vet advice is disrespectful. I totally agree. There is a lot that's going on with this that, and here's the messed up part. We've only heard one side. Right now, we just know what Tony Khan has put out there. Jericho has put out a statement, and you read his statement, and it's like, wow. I mean, if you were to kind of read in between the lines of what Jericho, is saying here, it almost comes off as if Jericho is a bit somber, all things considered, with what's happening with CM Punk. I'll read to you guys that statement that he put out there. See if I can find that real quick. Yep, I got it off the break. All right, so I got that loaded up. I'll tell you guys exactly what he said here. And this isn't me overanalyzing what CM Punk had to say. So he talked about this on his Talk Is Jericho podcast. He said, quote unquote, I don't want to dwell on this or talk about, but I should address it. CM Punk no longer with AEW. Wembley was his last match, which, what a way to go out if you're going to go out. I did speak to him briefly. I was going to do a Frankensteiner off the top, and I know he does that sometimes. So I was curious if he was going to do it. I went and talked to him for a bit, asked if he was going to do it. He wasn't. I told him I was going to do the GTS with a straight face, and I think for a second he thought I was going to. I was joking, of course. I did see him that day. It's a regretful moment, what happened, but Tony Khan made his decision. CM Punk was a big part of AEW from the time he was here, and if you're going to go out, he went out on top by having this big match with Samoa Joe in a sold-out stadium. That's my thoughts on that. For me, that just really, because all the other times before CM Punk had came to AEW and everything, I remember, and I was waving the flag when it came to CM Punk leaving WWE. Chris Jericho was, if not the first, one of the first people that tried to run up to Punk. Come on my show. Let's talk about your WWE departure. And CM Punk, I'm going off of what Jericho had said. In layman's terms, Jericho was like, yeah, you, Vulture, because I already know what you're about. You're just about how you can help your podcast, brand yourself, yada, yada, yada. Like, you're not sincere, right? He detected BS, so he didn't want to have anything to do. And for me, I always kind of got the vibe since then that, Jericho kind of took that a little personal and everything, that he wouldn't get the opportunity and all that. And we've heard, to my point, Jericho, before Punk joined AEW, Jericho would take little jabs at CM Punk here and there. And it just seemed like after CM Punk had joined and everything, his tune changed. Now, we've got Punk that has made his exit. Notice right here in this statement, I don't know if you guys have really picked up on this or really thought about this, but Jericho is not choosing a side here. He's not saying, hey, Tony Khan, I'm pro Tony Khan. It was time for Jericho to go. Or, he's not, his whole thing is, hey, man, this is really unfortunate. But you know what? The guy went out with a bang. He went out in front of 80,000 freaking people, Very weird of a statement. It almost feels as if there's a lot more Jericho wants to say, and I know Jericho is outspoken about quite a few things. Hell, he lets it be no secret what his political affiliation is and all that, and he will rub that in your face any day of the week and block you for it if you come at him like that, right? Come at him incorrect when it comes to politics and see what happens. It ain't happened to me. I'm just quietly watching and everything. I'm like, ooh, that's juicy and everything, right? So you see that. You have the veteran and Mark Henry. I won't repeat that whole spiel, but by now everybody knows what Mark Henry had said in regards to Punk now gone from AEW. He put out this sarcastic post. Okay, the problem's gone. You're right. I'm paraphrasing. The big boogeyman is gone. That's it. We're, hey, it's now rainbows and unicorns and, hell, the sunshine. Right? Taste the rainbow. We're good again. Right? Now Mark Henry is pretty much out there. I mean, just between those two guys alone, I'm looking at them and I'm just going, y'all know something, but y'all are old school like that. Y'all ain't gonna be snitching, and I respect that. It's kind of one of those deals where, okay, now let's really see what happens with this company going forward. I said it once before, I'll say it again. AEW, they never needed CM Punk. CM Punk never needed AEW, but the money was good, right? Hey, continue to stay cash flow positive. Build that cushion nest up. Somebody's willing to pay. You ain't got to do that many dates. Take the money and run. That's what any one of us would do. Right? That's what any one of us would do. Double D. Seems unnecessary, reckless. Not something that legal or this phantom disciplinary committee would or should approve. I thought it was funny seeing some of the comments, and I want to read to you just some of the comments that I had received on that. It was funny reading what some of the people had to say in regards to that, because some people actually said, who cares? Your fascination. One guy said, your fascination with when this council came into existence, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. And it's like, actually it does. It does, for the whole sake of the argument. Like, it actually does. Like, what the hell are you talking about? It doesn't matter. Like, this is weird to bring up and all that. Where is that article? I'm trying to pull it up here. Hang on a second here. Let me see if I can load this up real quick. Yes, I found it. I love when I'm able to find my article so quick, and I'm actually going to bookmark that. Yeah, I had got, like, last I checked, I had got like about 140 comments on this article. For those of you that haven't read it yet and you want to, go through the comments yourself while I kind of just cherry pick. I'm good, bad, indifferent. I'm gonna cherry pick certain article comments to read back to you guys and everything. But this was pretty good. Let me go with, oh wow, now we're up to 178. Cool. Let's see what we got here. And for everybody that had responded to the article, thumbs up. Thank you. I appreciate you. Whether you agreed, disagreed, just the fact that you took time to read it and you were respectful, even if you disagreed, right? Like, I always treat people the way I want to be treated, and that's with respect. Elway, because I like the name Elway. First comment I see here. I'm impressed that Punk's return to wrestling lasted as long as it did. He doesn't need to go back to WWE, and he may have already burnt that bridge. Vince is a guy who has been known to make amends, and I'm sure he'd love to stick it to AEW by letting Punk cut a promo on the whole situation. But I don't think Punk is that desperate to stay in the spotlight. On the off chance that Punk goes back to WWE, how long before he wants out again? Does he make it to WrestleMania in Philly, or does he take his ball and go home if he's not in the main event? All very valid points, Elway. All very valid points, my dog. It's one of those deals, and I thought it was so funny because from the Saturday breaking news piece, we talked about, okay, so what's next? And I went on record and I said, I hope he doesn't go back to WWE. Pull a Cody Rhodes, mess around with all the promotions. You want my services? You got to pay me. I'm not going to be tied down to you. That was my whole thing. So this whole situation with Punk, if he were to pop up for a promotion and just, work for them strictly, I brought up the idea of how is it that in all these years, especially while Punk was on hiatus, how is it that Punk and Billy Corgan have not, you would think that would be two Chicago boys, that would definitely, you would think, work. And man, what would be able to happen for the NWA? I saw a lot of people that were taking stabs. They were like joking with NWA. Oh, but I'm looking at this legit, and I'm going, if there's anybody that has a chance, a legit chance at CM Punk, yeah, fellow Chicago native and Billy Corgan, and Billy Corgan has been trying to figure out ways to ultimately get NWA a TV deal and all of that. Yeah, if he lands him CM Punk, they're gonna have a TV deal. It ain't gonna be no access TV or public access TV. Ain't gonna be it's gonna be some real freaking TV. Okay, so a lot of people are joking about that, but I wouldn't sleep on those guys. Impact Wrestling is another one. I mentioned all of these before the articles have now come out saying Impact Wrestling is interested in. No, these are just websites that are just throwing darts up on the, like, come on. Let's keep rocking and rolling here. Go through some more comments. There's so many comments. I'm like skipping a couple of comments and just kind of going from there. But I do like, let's go with this one. Soda and fries, because I just think that handle kicks ass. That is a badass handle. Soda and fries. I would like to believe Punk did try to operate this way, but kept coming across deaf ears. In the article, I talk about how Punk really should have led by example, try to do his best to not come off as if this is a hostile takeover. Basically my way of saying, when you read in between the lines, respect those that have pretty much laid the foundation that you're now a part of. And I even said, look, I would like to believe he did in fact try, but there was such great resistance and all that, right? Or maybe the fault was in his mythology, maybe. We've heard multiple stories now about how Bryan Danielson has risen behind the scenes in a creative and liaison style role. Doesn't seem his attempts at bringing some locker room leadership has fallen on deaf ears, has it? Very valid point. What is it that Bryan Danielson is doing that is much different than what Punk was doing, right? How is it Danielson is able to connect and command that respect, and what is he doing that CM Punk was not doing? It's a very good point. Very good point. Oh, and for the person in charge of AEW's transportation for talent and management, they should be suspended or fired because this was a royal screw up. Can we pause on that one? And Mitch, if you're still around, can you clarify? Because now I'm seeing that apparently that was not the case, that this was proven to be false, is what I'm seeing a lot of fans are saying. But I've yet to see the Sean Ross Sapps and Mike Johnsons confirm otherwise. That one right there, that one's kind of, because now everybody's saying, no, that wasn't true. It turns out that wasn't true. No. One thing that kind of bothered me about that whole situation, you're telling me that you arrive in London, whatever airport or, seaport, whatever the hell you want to call it, where you arrive. One thing that bothered me that I did not mention in the article, but it was one of those deals where, and this happens when you're a writer, like another thought pops up, but it's like it's too late because you're already running with the one article that you have out now, so you can't go back and edit, right? But that bothers me because you arrive, you're expecting, for hypothetically speaking, allegedly, you're expecting some type of traffic to be there, right? And the traffic is, somebody to be there, personal transportation. You're expecting somebody to be there. They're not there. Well, I mean, if you got a phone, I don't know. There's this beautiful thing called Uber, Lyft, and you just download the app. It's free, and then you open it up, and then you say, yeah, I need a ride. And that's the beautiful part. If you don't know where in the blue hell you are, there's now like this automatic like GPS location. So like the Ubers, the Lyfts, they know exactly where to come pick you up. And as far as where you need to go, right? If you were trying to go to a hotel, or if you at least have that information, then yeah, the Uber or the Lyft driver, they easily would be able to figure out exactly, where you need to go and everything, right? So I find that part of the story really, really weird, because it's much like I was watching Undisputed earlier today, and they were talking about this one football player. I think he plays for the Raiders, and he was just letting off these series of tweets. And one of them was him complaining about the fact that he could not visit the Raiders facility to get a workout in there when he wanted to. Apparently he was turned away or something like that, and he's trying to understand, like, why is all this messed up stuff happening, right? And yeah, it's kind of one of those deals where are we sure that you had arrived at the stadium at the right day and time, that maybe it was close? Like, you're having a hard time believing that, because normally the players have access 24/7 to the stadium, where they want to go there, work out. As soon as they want to do something at the stadium, somebody is always there to accommodate them, right? So you hear this thing with Punk, and as soon as he arrives wherever, nobody's there. Whoever was in charge, nobody's there. Well, you got a phone. Unless you don't have your phone, unless your phone is dead, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? That's a good one. I don't know. What we got here? Let's see. What else did you say in here? Sodas and fries. I like that name. Wasn't there a time-sensitive window for talents to make use of transportation, and Punk flew in later than planned? Yeah. This is very well connected as far as who all was in on egging CM Punk. It's within your right to say this is reaching, but stranger and crazier things have... Yes, that's a quote that you're taking, okay? Yes, the elite are Kaiser Seuss, and everyone that's ever rankled Punk's feathers are all extensions of their... master plan. I suppose William Regal and Seth Rollins are in the league with them also. I told you I read any comment, right? As long as it's constructive and you're good. I can take criticism long as you're cool about it. I like how this was set up. See, he quoted my part about Khan should have honestly stayed behind the press release, let Kevin Kelly and crew read the statement, right? or simply because he's the owner of AEW, he feels the buck stops with him, and he made a point of shouldering the responsibility of such a big call instead of hiding behind a lackey. This isn't rocket science. Nobody is saying that it was rocket science, but I've seen people say to me in regards to Tony Khan's promos in general, sodas and fries, and it's, leave it to me to take you seriously, soda and fries. That ain't no rib. I'm just saying. But seriously, no jokes. Let's go there. So many people have said something looks wrong with Tony Khan. Is he on some type of drug? Is he on this? Is he on that? See, it's easy for you guys to talk about stuff like that when you don't have the type of experience that me, some of my friends in the podcasting world has, where, hey, you've got to take your show on the road and you've got to go perform in front of an actual audience, or if you've done your fair share of being a presenter, and you are, or maybe you're hosting a panel or something, and you've got to, talk a particular way. Anybody that has studied to be an actor, studied some form of broadcasting, you name it, you know that, okay, I got to talk in front of, whether it's 5 people, whether it's 50 people, or you got to rise to that occasion. And if you can't rise to that occasion, then, man, it's going to be tough for you. It is going to be tough for you, because if you're out there live in front of that crowd and they not feeling what you saying, they going to shut you down real quick, and they going to just go get up, go get a sandwich, go use the bathroom, go to the concession stand, or whatever like that, right? So for me, whenever I talk about how uncomfortable somebody looks in front of the camera, I am judging them solely on the presentation. And in 4 years, and look, there's one thing that you cannot deny, soda and fries and everybody else, convince me otherwise. 4 years. This ain't me being upset. I'm just passionate right now. 4 years. 4 years. I'm going to say that again. 4 goddamn years. And Tony Khan is still going out there acting like he's in year freaking 1 as a presenter. Myself, Mish, Joe, Kev Castle, DT, Solo Monster, JD from New York. Who else am I forgetting? We can all tell you, if you're serious about your craft, especially if you're going into the realm of being a presenter, whether it's involving you practicing in front of a mirror, or it involves you practicing in front of a camera, or you are practicing in front of a friend or a loved one, and you're like, hey, how is it? What do I need to do to improve? Can you give me some pointers? Okay, I'm slouching. Okay, I need to raise the energy up a little bit more. I need to sound more, hey, okay, yeah, right? 4 years. And this guy is still out there like it's year freaking 1. That's my concern. That's my goddamn concern. If anything, I'm trying to protect the guy. Did you see how his ass got lit up on social media? That's why I'm trying to protect the man. You talk about, he had balls. He's got to take it on the chin. I commend him. And come on. No. Come on. He needs better media training. There is no doubt about it. And the best part, in this day and age, 2023 and beyond, my man does not even need to hire somebody. He can easily go on YouTube and he can see tutorials. If push comes to shove, he can learn how he needs to, have that spine positioned a certain way, and how he needs to make sure that he's not just looking like he's frozen and he's trying to squeeze his butt cheeks, because there could be a serious rip in between his pants if he lets that gas out, because he gets nervous, and when he gets nervous, there's gas in them butt cheeks, and he knows if he lets it out, oh, that's a really wet one. He's going to need to take a shower, right? I mean, he can easily go on YouTube, Daily Motion. I mean, hell, you can go on X Twitter now, and you can get you a whole freaking video, right? I was minding my own business the other day. No bull. I was minding my own business the other day. You can now watch full-length porn videos on X Twitter. I see why y'all are like, hey, it's become XTube or X videos. Like, damn, what isn't on X Twitter, or X formerly known as Twitter? What isn't on there anymore? I mean, seriously. See here. DX, those who don't learn from history, WCW, are doomed to repeat it. Tony Khan is a geek version of 90s Bischoff, wanting to be one of the boys. Yeah. He should just be able to use his own resources and get the Jags media trainer to coach him. Or he could do that. Either way, we're all in agreement. He's got the resources. He's got the resources. Has he made some type of improvement? Very little improvement. He should be leaps and bounds. Even when it comes to the interviews that he does, he looks very, very awkward. He still looks like he's trying to find his way through. He still comes off like he's not really that prepared. It's very, very unfortunate. So guys, look, when I say what I say about Tony Khan, it's from a place of love. It's from a place of, he ain't got no business being out there. You can tell me, oh, but he's trying to be gutsy. I'm trying to protect the man from being a laughing stock. Most of you guys, yeah, I'm telling you, y'all sleeping on it. Old Man Brown, awesome and respectful article, especially calling out Meltzer and Alvarez. Indeed. Appreciate those kind words. Let's go with some, I'm just going to jump ahead a little bit. Raw Hockey Fan 13. Two things can be true. The Elite baited Punk and he took it, and that they baited him. He wanted out anyway, so he took it. I've said this from the beginning of AEW. Putting in-ring talent in positions of power within the company is a bad idea. Let me pause on that one. That's something that I've seen the past several days since this was put out. And I was paying very close attention to who was phrasing it right. And Hockey Fan is one of those people that definitely phrased it right, which is in-ring talent. In-ring talent should not be put into positions of power. It's funny because when I was mentioning this to the wife the other day, when the news initially broke, and we started talking about just everything that was going on, and I told her early on, I said, I wonder if this man kind of got baited. And then she said, this is why wrestlers shouldn't be in a position of power. And I looked at her kind of funny, and I said, expand on that thought a little bit. Why is that? And she answered it, and I told her, I said, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I said, it's okay for wrestlers to be in a position of power, so as long as their in-ring career, like, it's either done or maybe they're wrestling for the promotion like twice a year. And I told her, I said, look at Triple H, Paul Levesque. This man, when he was still wrestling, he had his upper management WWE contract, and he had his talent contract, for his little 2 or 3 matches for the whole year and everything. So it was very easy for him to still focus solely on the business side of things, creatively, what have you. All that was tied to his respected upper management position and all that. So I like that fans like Hockey Fan, they're very specific. In-ring talent in positions of power with the company is a bad idea. Yes. The Elite clearly think they run the place. Well, when you've essentially built the company and They're the ones that they didn't rely on no Steve Austins, no Goldbergs, no Triple H's, no. Yeah, and you know what? You, me, anybody else, we'd probably have a swollen head too if we pretty much were, we were there when it was just an idea, and we pretty much, and you can make the argument, it was on somebody else's dime, but we still had the vision. They just indirectly or directly got the biggest star in the company fired. Think about how huge that is. Imagine Judgment Day playing a role in getting Roman Reigns fired. Now Elite has fat new contracts because they were smart enough to let the rumor out there, true or not true, that WWE was interested in them. It also isn't a good look to have lost Rhodes and Punk. When Brawl Out happened, Khan, short of firing the Elite, the next best thing he could have done was strip them of this EVP title. Send the message that no one is above the law. He didn't this time. Punk gets the axe. It is easy to see where Khan's loyalty is. That is interesting. That's a very good point. You can't help but wonder if Tony Khan and, had he laid it out and said, look, you guys can continue to stay with the company, but, those EVP titles, we're going to have to get rid of those. That position is now gone. That's not for you. Where I need you guys is strictly as talent. You can keep your salaries. We won't touch that. We won't next contract re-up. Won't try to cheat you. Won't try to get you a smaller contract. You're locked in at that rate. If you do a good job, we come back. If it warrants getting an increase, we'll deal with it when the time comes. But I wonder if, had they been stripped of the EVP titles, but all the other perks are still there, if they would have continued to. I mean, you would like to believe, you would like to believe that. Let's see what else we got here. Keep rocking and rolling. I'll read just a couple of more here. I haven't forgotten you guys in the chat, by the way. Let's see. Let's see here. I see. Do I really want to go through? No, because this is like an essay, so I'm actually going to skip that. Let's see. Hang on. Punk screwed Punk. That's what Johnny Milkshark is saying. He's going with a Brett screwed Brett. That's what he's going with there. Samoa Boss. As someone who often needs to take a moment to collect my thoughts before saying things I might regret, I was going to comment that perhaps all Punk needed was some time and space to think better of his actions before seeing Perry backstage. Then I remembered he spent months and months brewing what he was going to say about Hangman during that exchange because his ego absolutely couldn't handle the idea of someone having one up on him. So yeah, this was going to happen one way or another because the dude's a mess and he can't help himself from taking bait. Samoa Boss, that's a very interesting point. The fact that, damn, dude, you was out how many months and you could never pick up a phone and call Tony Khan, and once it was pretty much established you were about ready to come back, we couldn't get you and Hangman and upper management behind closed doors, and now instead one of the first promos that you get, you pretty much, I'll give you that. That's a damn good point. That's a damn good point. Damn good point. Let's see what else we got here. Two more, that's it. Tempest, but it's spelled with a 7. He actually uses the 7 and then Impus. I'm just going to call him Tempest. One question I have is, if Khan felt so threatened by Punk that he ended up firing him, then why did he let him go out and wrestle the match? Well, hang on. Your answer is in that very question. I don't think I need to spell that out for you. Do we need to spell that out for him? I don't think we need to spell that out for him. Let me know if we need to spell that out for him. AEW fans are now seeing what many Jags fans have seen over the years. He's using daddy's money for his toy and doesn't have the skills to actually run the business well. Ooh. I think fans will grow tired of the ex-WWE guys showing up. I already did, for the short-term pop. AEW has to eventually develop its own stars, and they just haven't been able to do it. I was about to say, well, wait a minute. I see the very next sentence, the way he kicks it off. He talks about MJF, but wait a minute here. Wait a minute. Let me push back a little bit. Sammy Guevara, doing a pretty good job in developing him. The Acclaimed, doing a pretty solid job in developing them. I will admit, it was a big mistake taking the AEW tag titles off of them some months back, but, seems like now the recommitment is there and everything. Jade Cargill, before she went out, I know some people not really a fan of her match style and all that, but she was definitely one that was being developed pretty good. Who else? Who's the girl that's out injured right now? It was Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Another one. Man, I'm just continuing to knock on wood for her. I need for her to be healthy, and Chris Statlander, before she had got injured, she was definitely coming along. Sky Blue. Come on, man. Sky Blue, she's been doing pretty well the past couple of months. Who am I forgetting that honestly is coming along as far as AEW trying to, my God, you got Darby Allin. He's getting the greatest freaking rub off of Sting and all that. He took a serious backseat once CM Punk came into the mix, though. I think we all can definitely be in agreement of that. Whatever, stock-wise, popularity-wise, all of that pretty much had took a backseat once Punk came along, as he pretty much was made the first victim and everything. MJF is good on the mic, but his wrestling is okay. I doubt he's the main reason people want to see a pay-per-view. It's a very good argument. It's a good point. Needless to say, it was time for Punk to leave. He can't react like he did toward the boss. Even if you hate your boss, you can't do what Punk did. Well, allegedly, what Punk did. Let's really make sure we're stressing that. Punk should have requested a meeting with Tony and said he wants Perry out because he's doing unsafe work, and multiple vets said not to use real glass. Well, according to Meltzer and them, it was approved and all of that. So obviously Punk did not get the memo, and now that we're here kind of talking about it and everything, I can't help but wonder who else was at the monitor position with CM Punk as he was watching this match, and who all knew in that moment about, oh yeah, this was all approved, blah 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 blah. I'm curious if anybody had said to CM Punk, don't trip, we know you had tried to talk to the kid, but he got the green light from just let it go. Whenever he releases that statement, maybe we'll know. If Punk was a real locker room leader, he would have handled it much differently than he did. Same with the media scrum previously. Two wrongs don't make a right. And I'll read one more. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat real quick. Yes, Thunder Rosa. Thank you, Mish. And in a new update on Thunder Rosa, I believe according to Tony Khan, I'll see if I can find it real quick, she is close to being cleared to return from injury. I miss the hell out of her, seriously. I've done my best to try to keep up on her YouTube content and all that, because I like checking out her stuff and all that. She's pretty cool. Fightful is reporting that she's close to getting ready to return here. Yeah, that girl's been out of action since last August. last August. And some of you guys know that are bilingual. She's been doing Spanish commentary for AEW and all that. But they're saying that she's pretty close to coming back. Willow, I'm glad I saw Thunder Rosa, because Willow Nightingale is another one that's being developed extremely well. So, you know, I got to push back. This ain't me waving the AEW flag and, you know, oh, AEW rocks. It's like, I got to push back a little bit, you know. This, you know, you ain't on the Hall of Fame, you know. Sorry. I had to say that. If you've been with me this long, I think you guys can now connect the dots from earlier. How about that? Let's see. What else we got here? I wanted to read... no, I don't think I was done. I don't think I was done finishing up his comment here. Let me see here. He didn't write a long comment either. It was just kind of one of those, well, let me hold up before you go any further. It was kind of like, hold up. Let me see here. Maybe I was done, because now I don't... Hang on. Actually, I think I was done. Give me a second here. Let me see. Because how did I get on that page? Ah, that's how I did that. Okay. Okay, so hang on. Let me go back. Let me find that comment. Hang on. Soda and fries. I would like some soda and fries right now. That's actually pretty good. Thank you, soda and fries. You've made me hungry now just by looking at that. All right, let's see here. I don't know. Hang on. There he is. Yeah, it was Tempest, right? Yeah, Tempest. Real locker room leader. No, I read that. I finished Tempest. Okay, I finished Tempest. So I said I was going to read one more. Let's see what we got here. I'm trying to find a really good one. Nice little juicy one I can sink my teeth into. Wow, I came across a comment where a person said, I never watched Collision before. That's crazy. Let's end the comments for the article, and then I'll come back to what you guys are saying in the chat on this one, Chad. And I'm just random. If the name jumps out to me, like not in a familiar way, just sounds cool. Like I was just Chad. I always thought Chad was a cool name. I keep going back to his first promo in AEW, and you can read these comments on the 401 Mania link that I shared just now, and then some. I keep going back to his first promo in AEW when he flat out said he had some scores to settle in that locker room. In the moment, felt like an off-the-cuff piece of hype until the news quickly started to make the rounds that he was actively trying to get Cabana pushed out. Well, I gotta push back on that because according to him, he never wanted for Cabana to be out of the company. He didn't demand that Cabana be put off the show and all that other stuff. But I gotta give full context, right? I gotta push back where necessary here. Punk's time in AEW was doomed from the start because he came in with a self-serving agenda. Was it truly a self-serving agenda? I ask you all, was it truly a self-serving agenda? Answer that to yourselves. Yeah, if you want to jump out there, let me know. I'm curious what you all have to say about that. The Cabana situation is a one-off, as best we know, but everything about Punk's AEW run seemed to be solely in the service of feeding Punk's ego and giving Punk star billing. He wasn't there to help or work with that young talent. He was there to get the adulation of the fans and feed that ego. That's why he'd come out and ask the fans if they were sick of him yet. In his mind, he was worried the shine was going to wear off quickly. Punk's time in AEW did do one thing though. Reinforced that AEW's best path forward is through their own homegrown talent. A roster full of young Wardlow. If they can figure out crap with Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs is another one as far as young talent coming up. A roster full of young, eager talent will always get you further than a singular talent with more access to grind than time to sharpen them. Let's go back to what we said several minutes ago. AEW, way before Punk came in, they did not need him. Did he open up some doors? Yeah, without a doubt. Hell, they got Collision because like I said, what did I tell you guys a few days ago? I said, as far as Collision goes, we got to give that about a month before we start to see what the new norm is going to be for the viewership and all that. Will I watch Collision? I actually am going to watch. I always watch Dynamite. So the fact that Punk hasn't been on Dynamite, like, I'm still messing with Dynamite. As far as Collision goes, here's my whole thing. If they can keep the same formula that they had going on with Collision from the moment that it premiered and just, wow, this is exciting, and from what I saw this past weekend, you know, some elements were still there. Did it feel slightly different? I would have to say yes, because of that shocking news that we had got, because then at that point it was kind of like, yeah. But for me, I'm focused on this coming Saturday. I'm going to give it 2 to 3 episodes just to get a really good feel. Now that I have essentially the first full month of Collision episodes in the books, I'm going to basically judge the next 3 to 4 episodes. Judge them in the same realm of when Collision first debuted. Just those first 4 episodes alone, just to kind of, okay, all that was working, is that all still intact? And really, you know, I mean, it's unfortunate that he's gone now, but, you know, hey, I will say this: there's a lot of blame to go around for everybody, and as part of, you know, it took me a long time to get to this conclusion. But once I did, I've been a better human being. I've been a better friend. I've been a better spouse. I've been a better family member ever since. And that was at one point saying to myself, okay, why does XYZ keep happening? You're right? And it's like, well, this person, and then this over here, and then this wasn't. And I had to learn the hard way of, well, wait a minute, let me just take a step back. What's my role in all of this? Surely I'm accountable for a lot of these, because I'm pointing the finger at all these other people, but as far as the accountability goes, and once I started taking self-accountability, my God, that just opened up a whole new way of thinking, living, the whole 9 yards. And I was able to do all of that, like, my God, almost 17 years ago. And I'm still on this path of self-discovery and all that, even up to now. I learn new things about myself every day, that, you know, because I'm opening myself up more. You know, and Punk kind of strikes me. He's always struck me as that kind of person who, you know, once he's wrote you off, that is it. And, you know, he only has a very tight-knit, can clutch a fist, you know, group of people that's in his inner circle and all that. And, you know, once he feels that he has been done wrong, he calls you out on it. And remember old Hornswoggle? For those of you that don't remember, I believe, I'm trying to think if Swoggle had brought it up during the Jericho Cruise, and or if he had brought it up like in a shoot interview or something. I know for a fact he brought it up in an interview, but, you know, he told a story about how he had tried to give a call to CM Punk because he was trying to get a phone number or something like that from somebody, if I remember the story right. Forgive me if I don't, because my memory is a little spotty. But Punk came right back and was like, wait a minute, you're trying to get his number? And Swoggle was like, yeah, I'm trying to get, because I'm trying to. And Punk gave him the kiss of death. Swoggle ain't spoke to that man since. Right? So, a personality like that has gone unchecked for so long, to the point that here this man is now, and he's in his 40s. Most of us as men, I know women, physiology wise, and mentally, they develop much quicker mentally and all that than us men. Most of us men, when we're in our teens, right, we're like invincible. We just want to hang out with our boys and all that. 20s is when we start learning about being responsible and all this other crap. But we're still not quite mature enough yet, right? But usually, for some of us, if we're lucky, most of us men, in our late 20s going into our 30s, we start thinking about, okay, what do we want to do career-wise? How are we going to get there? We start thinking seriously more about relationships and all that, right? When we're in our 30s, it's about, okay, establishing yourself in that respected career path that you, right? This is where in your 30s you start. And so by the time you're in your 40s, like, you're in that mellow phase, and you're just, hey, I'm just trying to be the peacemaker, man. I'm trying to make this money. I'm trying to make these moves. You want to do this or what? At this point, you've seen the bigger piece of the pie, right? At this point, in a game of chess, right? You've now seen all the moves that can be played. You know what time it is, right? So you're playing for keeps, right? It's very weird. I gotta tell you guys, just 2 cents from a distance, and this is from a Punk fan. I have never come across anybody quite this. I'm not saying he has mental issues. I don't think he does. It's just I've never come across an individual quite like CM Punk, where there's a lot going on. There is a lot that's going on there, and I think the sooner that he takes some form of self-accountability and starts, okay, in regards to my attitude, what can I do to make this better? What can I do to, the sooner he starts looking within and be like, what did we learn from this? And how do we make sure that something like that doesn't happen again? Because that's life in a nutshell, babies. That's life in a nutshell. The sooner you admit, hey, I messed up, this went down. Okay, what am I going to do to improve that? What am I going to do to make sure I'm not in that position ever again? Okay, I treated these people this way. Okay, what can I do to make sure that something like that never happens again? Right? I'll leave you on this note. I remember one of my all-time favorite movies. Freaking love this freaking movie, man. I still watch it to this very day. Sometimes I'll just pull out the DVD and I'll freaking watch it. But Enter the Dragon. Stay with me here, because there's definitely a correlation here, okay? So, I remember originally John Saxon's in Enter the Dragon. So originally, John Saxon, when he got the role and all that, he walked into that bad boy, and boy, did he have a big old head on his shoulders, because he thought he was the mother effing star of the movie. And they had to kind of reel him back a little bit and let him know, hey, yeah, nah, you're actually not the star of the movie, yo. It's actually Bruce Lee. You're actually part of the, supporting cast and everything. And he's like, oh, okay, well, okay, cool. Just as long as my money is right, I definitely want to make sure I'm getting that money, right? So he was trying to put himself in a position where he would get paid more than Bruce Lee. I can't remember how that worked out. But if you remember, Jim Kelly's character in that movie. His name was Williams. Man, you look like something that came out of a goddamn comic book. Right? Remember him? So originally, Williams was supposed to be the one to survive at the very end with Bruce Lee. But John Saxon, with all the stuff that he had pretty much done to that part, it wasn't like he did, a Al Pacino. It wasn't like I'm like, oh my God, John Saxon. I mean, he had always done supporting roles. That's pretty much was him in a nutshell, supporting roles. So when he hears that Jim Kelly, is pretty much going to be the one to, make it all the way to the movie, John Saxon started throwing a temper tantrum and all that other crap. And you know what happened? Y'all that saw the movie, Unfortunately, Jim Kelly's character was the one that got off, and so John Saxon just kept, right on, right? But you can't help but wonder in retrospect, how would the movie had been if Saxon was the one, his character was killed. Was it Roger? I can't remember now, but if his character was the one that got killed and, it was Kelly, right? So you look at a situation like that, there's obviously somebody that was just thinking all about them, how it would benefit them. It wasn't really a team effort. And for the longest time, John Saxon, he had like this stigma with him where it was like, that's why his career only went to a certain level, and he never truly broke out because he thought he was all that and a bag of chips. And now I'm not saying that's what's going on with CM Punk, but when you see this pattern of history, you can't help but go, is this dude truly humbling himself to the opportunities that he's being afforded with? Is he truly, or is this really a case where when it comes to just the world of wrestling and how he was brought up and everything, he just has that old school mindset? He is just honestly, he's been put in the wrong wrestling generation. If this would have been the 1970s, 60s, 80s, 90s, Punk would have been perfect. Is it a case where he is pretty much a man behind on the times? Or was there that much dysfunction and you name it that was going on in that company? Something that Mark Henry kind of alluded to with the statement he put out there on Busted Open this week. It's a lot to unpack and unravel and think about. We're not going to have the answers tonight. We're not. I mean, you could do a whole crash course 101 on this whole thing for like an entire semester. That'd be like 3 months, right? Like you'll never really have an answer to this. But, to kind of quote the words of what some of you guys are saying, this is one of the most weirdest stories. And as far as CM Punk, what is going on there, like we'll never know. One thing we do know for certain, some point he's going to talk. At some point he's going to talk. And he's going to tell his side of the story. And that should be very, very interesting. That should be very interesting. I don't know who he's going to give that opportunity of the interview to, but whoever he gives it to, that he's giving them that seal of, I endorse you, I trust you, I know that should be a good one. It'll definitely turn some heads. It will definitely turn some heads. And that will be the talk for the whole week. I promise you that. Other than that, I think that's it. As far as wrestling related news goes, there wasn't really anything else noteworthy except Becky Lynch. It looks like she's going to miss that WWE Superstar Spectacle event. Looks like she's having a passport issue. She shared the news on social media. She said something along the lines of, because there was a slight tear on her passport, she wasn't allowed to travel, so she unfortunately isn't going to be able to go to the event. It's unfortunate. That show is going to be taking place on Friday, and the way the card is looking right now, we've got a WWE Women's World Championship match between Rhea Ripley and Natalya. Meanwhile, Seth Rollins and John Cena will take on Imperium. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will face Indus Sher. Shanky's going to be there, Jinder Mahal, Braun Breaker, and Matt Riddle. But yeah, she was not allowed to board her flight. Her exact words, "I'm sorry to all the fans in India. I was so excited to perform for you, but as there was a tiny tear in my passport, I have not been allowed to board my flight." I had asked my wife about this, and she told me, it is not as common. It is not as common as you think. When you hear stuff like that. Basically, she was trying to say that's pretty common, and her whole point was you gotta make sure that with your passport, when you're not using it, try to get it laminated, put it in right, and then when you are not using it, try to make sure you put it in a place, definitely no liquids, right? No liquid. It's something that she normally does if she is getting ready to travel out of the States. She'll actually put her passport in a plastic Ziploc bag to ensure that no type of liquids, because worst case scenario, put it with your luggage or whatever, maybe you got some hair cream or whatever, and it's happened to us. You go, "Hey, I thought the cap was on that cream there, what the hell?" And next thing you know, you got messed up clothes, you got messed up papers and documents, and that's not good. That's the last thing that you want. So take a cue from Becky Lynch and make sure you're protecting your stuff, man. Protect your stuff. Nick Aldis, he addressed his current status with WWE. As far as him working for WWE as a producer and all that, he said they just invited me to come and see how everything works, and shadow as a producer and see and just sort of be a part of the meetings and oversee the whole television operation, which is, again, I've done a lot. I've worn a lot of hats. I think people who have followed my career, particularly in the last few years, know that in addition to wrestling, I was wearing a lot of hats behind the scenes in WA. Yes, we know. At my last place. So I certainly don't feel like it's a completely new sort of situation for me. Having said that, there's pro wrestling, and then there's WWE. Just talking in just a sheer sort of volume of the operation, and just, God, whoever did the transcript for this, I'm doing my best to omit certain. There is so many the number of people involved in that, the scale. God, you got this guy sounding like a freaking moron. Clean this up. This isn't me being a show off. When I would interview folks, and I still interview folks from time to time, when I get ready to do the transcripts, I freaking go over that bad boy like a mofo, and then I even have somebody shadow behind me in case I miss something. And they'll be like, "You missed this right here." Like when I get done editing a transcription for an interview, it'll probably be at, I'm being honest, it'll probably be somewhere between 84 to a 92%. Out of 100%, okay, it's on point. I'm somewhere between an 84 to a 90, 92. When the person that comes in that shadows me, they get it to 100. This sounds so bad. I don't even want to continue to read this, because it's just, you got this guy sounding like, and I've seen too many interviews with this guy. I know how he talks, and this is a case right here where you should have. So let's just skim this and let's get to the meat and potatoes with this here. He's with WWE, then it's game over. And so now, people are saying you are not wrestling anymore. Have you retired? Are you not wrestling? Even the boys are saying that, are you done wrestling? And it's slow down. Okay, so basically he wants to keep his options open. Okay, cool. I'm not going to read anymore. I was gonna go there, but like that was my first time actually reading that, and they made him sound like a bumbling buffoon. I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that. Let's see what else we got here. See, Punk was looking to feed his ego, but not in the same way the Elite do it. He wanted to build up a great company and have their success be accredited to him. Elite just wants stars. Yeah. If they fully give the reins to Bryan Danielson, Collision has a chance of success, but it's going to be a steep uphill battle. Yeah. DX, this is probably why we're getting Becky versus Stratton and NXT. Most likely, that should be a really good. I did watch this past week's NXT, by the way. Tiffany Stratton taking on, I can't think of her name right now. Keita James. That was wow. I know Tiffany Stratton said in a recent interview that she is not ready to come up on the main roster and everything. I gotta see a little bit more as far as how she is on the promos and all that, because I usually like to just poke my head and check out NXT every couple of weeks. But this was my first time seeing Tiffany Stratton in weeks, and man, in-ring wise, leaps and bounds of improvement. She's got one pretty ass little moonsault. The way she just bounces on the three ropes in the corner to set that up. Oh, that is so goddamn pretty. I could watch that all day. I'm actually looking forward to that match between her and Becky next week. I will watch NXT for that. I will definitely watch NXT for that. Also, the India show is just a live event. It won't be streamed. Okay. Keywords, it won't be streamed. WWE may record, though. You never know. They may decide to. You never know. Speaking of streamed and all that, I tried to watch the Kurt Angle documentary earlier today because I had a little bit of free time. Everything else was able to... Kiana James, yeah. I was able to play everything else on Peacock, but for some reason today, the Kurt Angle documentary would not play. I even put a tweet out on X asking people, hey, has anybody tried to play the Kurt Angle joint today? Because I can't get it to play for nothing. So I ended up watching Saw instead. Try to get ready to check out the newest joint that had came out. So I was looking forward to talking about Kurt Angle here on the show, so it looks like we'll have to push that back till next week. One other piece of news I'll share with you guys when we're getting ready to roll out. I don't know how things are going to be looking for October and November. I'm kind of getting the itch to do a little bit of traveling, do a little bit of sightseeing, some on-field reporting, and the good folks over at New York Comic Con, they actually has sent me a press pass. Let me just put this in front here. There you go. They actually sent me a press pass, and this is going to be coming up, I think, the second week of October. So I'm not really sure if I'm going to be going. I would like to go. I got to check out the finances, talk with the missus, and see what's up. It's going to be running on a Thursday to Sunday. I know I wouldn't be out there Thursday because I got classes. I'll still be in the thick of things when it comes to classes. So if I were to do this, I probably would be out there. I probably would be out there Thursday night, and then cover the event Friday, cover it part of Saturday, and then just head on back home. So that's kind of the idea that I'm having right now, but I'm not really sure just yet. Also, I want to give a shout out to my brothers and sisters over there at Squared Circle Collectibles. You all may recall that I had went to them last year to have a meet and greet with Bret Hart. I wrote up a piece about it on the 401 Mania site for those of you that might be curious. But if you're gonna be in the surrounding parts of Virginia coming up, let me get the exact dates here. Hang on, because I'm on their site right now, and you can find out more information by going to squaredcircle21.com. But as far as there's two names I want to home in on for you guys here. Let me see here. Yeah, they don't even have it up. Hang on here. Hang on. Where is it? I tell you what, there it is. There it is. So Mick Foley, that's not the name. There's a bigger name, believe it or not. But Mick Foley is going to be there. It looks like his meet and greet. Is it sold out? What's going on here? Hang on here. Mick Foley meet and greet. Hang on. So it looks like they've got a redirect for Mick Foley meet and greets. Hang on. Let me see if this works. Yeah. All right. So when you're on their site initially, you're going to get a new link that they want you to go to. Go there and you'll be able to make your purchase. But Mick Foley is going to be there. Where are their dates for Foley? This will be in Winchester, Virginia, Squared Circle Collectibles, 3343 Valley Pike, Suite 100. And Mick Foley is going to be there. Photo op is going to be $40. Autograph 8x10 is $40 as well. There's a Mick Foley combo special with a Dude Love pop figure. That's going to be $60. This is supposed to be coming up. If I remember right, I think this is supposed to be coming up in... God damn it, I had said to the wifey the dates too. She would better remember. I think they're both coming up in October. Sometime in October. When I join you guys Monday, I'll have the dates for you guys officially, because unfortunately the way that they've got the website laid out, they're still trying to, but the other name that I want to home in on, Kurt frickin' Angle is going to be there. And you guys know that had heard about my experience with the Jericho Cruise and all that, and how disappointed I was when it came to meeting Kurt Angle. Kurt was a sweetheart. He was a total freaking sweetheart. Very nice to me, very nice to Tamps and everything. He was of all the wrestlers that were on the cruise, him, believe it or not, Ryan Nemeth, Zack Ryder's brother, hopefully I'm remembering the name right, Caesar Bonini, Peter Avalon, and Kurt Angle. They were the main ones that were just all throughout different times of day and night on the cruise. You would see them. And I know Kurt and his wife, they definitely had spent time in the cafeteria area where the general public was, it's like all you can eat, right? And they had really good food up there too and everything. He was eating the food. People were being very respectful. They were just like, hey, Kurt, hey, you enjoying yourself? Everything good? You need anything? It was really, really cool. But yeah, we did a meet and greet with Kurt Angle on the cruise, but we weren't allowed to have anything autographed. So it was kind of like, but Kurt Angle is doing the whole 9 yards here. So if you want a autograph 8x10, that's going to cost you $50. You want to do a photo with the man, that is going to cost you $50. You want to take advantage of a combo, that is going to be $80. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I need you guys to listen. Before you go jump in and, let me go do... No, hang on. This is the one you want to home in on. The premium item autograph. So understand something. The autograph photos, right? Like, that's not how it works. You can't just be like, hey, yeah, I got this title, or yeah, I got this pop figure, or yeah, I got this poster. No. 8x10 photo. That's your autograph. If you want for these guys to sign the belts, you gotta go with the premium item autograph. Now for Mick Foley, that's gonna cost $70. So let's say you're trying to do an 8x10, a photo op, and the premium item autograph. Well, I just told you the prices, right? So you got to come up out of your pockets 3 times. Now, let's say, no. All I want is the premium item autograph and a photo op. Okay, we'll take that 70 and then take that 50, 120 plus tax, right? Kurt Angle's premium item autograph, he wants $10 more. He wants $80. So, as you would imagine, I am definitely having Kurt Angle sign the big gold belt. I am having my man sign the big gold belt. That's what I was trying to have him do on the cruise, but I found out the hard way it ain't happening. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. I'm looking to try to purchase my premium item autograph this weekend and everything, if I can pull it off. Or, beginning of next week. But I'm definitely going to do it. Once again, that's going to be hosted by the guys at Squared Circle Collectibles. I love those guys. I try to do my best to show them some love. Learn more by visiting squaredcircle21.com. Again, 3343 Valley Pike, Suite 100, Winchester, Virginia. If you want to try to call them, get more information, area code 540-773-8174. And look, for those of you that maybe are not going to be able to do it, I extend this to you. If you want me to get a 8x10, an autograph 8x10 of either of those guys for you all, or maybe there's something you have that's kind of bulky you want for one of them to sign, I would be willing to hook you guys up. Just reach out to me all throughout social media, or hit me up with a DM or whatever. I think my DMs are still open, and let me know. I'm more than happy to help you out. Just kick in something. Yeah, I'm like, just take care of me as far as obviously I'm not doing it for you for free, right? So obviously you're gonna have to pay for the item that you're trying to get autographed or whatever. But just try to help me with the shipping, and I'll do my best to, make sure that your shit gets autographed, and we can get it out to you in a timely manner, and all that. DX, I'll forward that question to the next show in regards to Jacob Fatu and MLW, because I got to get caught up to speed on that. All right, so we've done about 2 hours, 44 minutes. Let's call it. DONE done. Be kind. Rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the RCWR Show. Why are you guys messing around with Podcast Addict? I need to see that go down. I was looking at sources literally a couple of hours ago, and I'm seeing that's coming in at like number 2 or number 3. I need to see that come down. Just branch out. Go listen to us on Spotify. Listen to us definitely on the Apple Music. If you got Alexa, pull us up on there. Do TuneIn, do iHeartRadio, do those joints. I'm trying to see that Podcast Addict. I need to see that go down, way down. Because they ain't giving us no love. They ain't giving us no money. So I need to see that go way down, that Podcast Addict. Stop listening on Podcast Addict. Listen through anything else there. Shout out to friends of the show. Shout out to Mish and Joe of Wrestling Soup. Make sure to check them out. Shout out to my man DJ. My man DJ been tearing it up when it comes to uploading clips of the show on the YouTube channel. Hope you guys been appreciating that. Who else I want to give a shout out to? Shout out to you guys. Fuck it. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys always supporting the show. You really been stepping up these past couple of weeks. I've been checking out what's been happening for on demand and on the downloads. I've been seeing an increase in the stats. Everything's going up. I love it. Everything's going up. So I'll keep doing what I'm doing. You keep doing what you're doing, and we're going to make it work. How about that? We're going to make it work. Get at me on X, formerly known as Twitter, and on Facebook at the RCWR Show. And until next go round, y'all, I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Smash the likes. All that helps really spread the content out there to a more wider audience. Take care, y'all. Enjoy the rest of the week. Have a good weekend. Stay hydrated. the worst is yet to come with this heat wave that we're in right now this week. So stay hydrated. Make sure your pets are taken care of. They got their water. Make sure they are well cool. Check up on any elderly neighbors in your neighborhood. Make sure they got everything that they need and everything, right? Try to pay it forward. All right, y'all. Take care.